Hello. Hey, Appy. How are ya? We're going to be coloring and listen to an Audible tonight. We have been doing it on Tuesdays. We moved it to Thursday, but then this week I had to move it to tonight. I apologize. This week has been so crazy. I'm doing good. I'm excited to color this page. The famous jellyfish page in the workbooks. Sunset to Sea. We're going to do like a dark glow vibe, like deep ocean, and the jellyfish are glowing. So I'm going to start our Audible. Rye, who dis? Hey, girl, hey. I know it's been a hot minute again. It's just that week's getting ready for school and stuff, and he's doing band camp. I've been running him everywhere. Thank you for the heartme. Well, we're going to get started. I'm going to turn on our Audible, and we're going to color and just, not that. Color and relax together and color. I'm excited. And color.
Now, there are many odd situations that life has prepared Mona for, but she has no idea how to approach her current predicament, in which a man who seems to have stepped out of an old photo, or maybe an old film strip, is standing before her, addressing her as her mother. This is, to say the least, unexpected. So all she can manage to say is, "What?" The grainy-gray, washed-out image of Coburn cocks his head. "What?" he says. Mona keeps staring at him. She manages, He grows a little frustrated, leaning forward eagerly. "Did you say something?"
Hey, Maddie.
Mona just looks back at him, confused, helpless. "What are you doing here?" asks Coburn. "How did you get here? Were you caught in the storm as well?" She sits up a little at that. "No," says Mona. "I wasn't in the storm. I actually think you have me confused with someone else."
Thank you for the Go Pops and the Moo-Moos, Maddie.
Coburn frowns and peers at her. His image flickers like it's being received by mangled bunny ears on an old television, and Coburn shrinks, sputters, expands, before returning to his original state. Though the act is silent, Mona mentally accompanies it with the sound of hissing static. "Jesus Christ," says Mona. "This is quite odd," he says. "Your mouth is moving, but no sound is coming out." I'm afraid you're wrong there too, sir. I think I'm making an No, says Coburn. "No, nothing at all. And you do seem to be talking." He studies her. "Can you hear me, Laura?" "Well, yes," says Mona. She's still too confused to broach the Laura topic. He sighs, exasperated, rubs his forehead. "I just said I cannot hear you, so if you just said yes, and it looks like you did, I didn't hear it. Please nod or shake your head." Mona, irritated, nods her head in an exaggerated fashion. "So you can hear me, but I can't hear you," says Coburn. "Interesting. I wonder why this is." "Maybe you're deaf." "I could be deaf, of course," he says, tapping his chin and looking away. "But I can still hear the wind. God, how I wish I could stop hearing the wind. I wish I had a pen and paper, but obviously there would be none in a place like this." He looks around, face baleful. She wonders if he's crazy. It's an odd thing for him to say, if this pale shadow of a person is a him, that is. Because if he is really Dr. Richard Coburn, then he founded this laboratory, so he must have worked in it, and so he must know that there's plenty of paper back in the hall there. And she can't hear a damn bit of wind. "You want paper?" asks Mona. "I can get you paper. Wouldn't be a minute." But Coburn is not paying attention. He is grimly staring straight into the wall. "I wonder where you came from. Everything is impassable except the way I came. Perhaps through there?" He points at the wall. "Or perhaps up from that gully there?" He points down at the floor, where there is certainly no gully. He seems more and more like a maddened transient, albeit one rendered in flickering monochrome. "I doubt if you did," he says, "because that way is quite treacherous, unless you had some sort of way to pass lakes of acid, and it doesn't look like you do. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, says Mona. There's no such thing here. We don't have much time here, he says, glancing up at the ceiling. The moon is out, but it won't be for long. That's when things get dangerous, he says softly. Without warning, his image sputters and fades a little. Hello, says Mona. Coburn flickers back to existence in mid-sentence, as if he is totally unaware of the change. He is saying, How are you here at all? I thought I was the only one who was transposed here. I haven't seen anyone from the staff since, and it's been... He turns to consult something on the ground. My God, over half a year since the storm. Mona gets an idea. She holds up her hands to get his attention. He glances up. Yes? You, she says and points. You stay. She holds her hands palm out and minds pushing on him. Right here. And she points down at the ground. She does it again to make sure he catches on. He watches her, blinking. Ah, you want me to stay here? Well, fine. Fine, though I can't imagine why. Where do you have to go? Well, let's see, says Mona, and she slowly backs out of the room. She's about a dozen feet away from the crackling image of Coburn when his mouth drops open. My goodness, he says. He stares around himself. Where did you go? He turns completely around. Laura, are you still here? What the fuck is going on? Says Mona softly. She turns around and jogs down the hall to the administrative offices. She finds a yellowed ancient notebook on one of the desks and a piece of colored chalk from one of the blackboards. Then she returns to the room with a mirror. Oh, says Coburn, and there you are again. He looks at what she's brought. Well, where did you get those? Those are... I know that stationery. That's from the lab. How did you get those? He whirls around, staring at the walls. Did some part of the building get transposed here too? I've never seen any suggestion of it. Mona writes, Where do you think you are? And turns it around to show him. He reads it and says, Well, I'm right here. Why do you ask? Mona writes, 'Cause right now I'm in your lab. What? Says Coburn. What do you mean? She pauses, frustrated, and points to the notebook. I mean this, what I wrote. You're in the lab? He says. You mean CNLO right
Crystal,
now?
thank you
Mona
so much for the
nods.
stingray. I'll try to remember to give you a sticker in a minute
Sure.
when I finish
She nods
this.
again. He stares around her, his eyes taking in things totally invisible to Mona. How? She shrugs as if to say, You're the fucking scientist. Then she points to the first question. Where do you think you are? Coburn is so shaken that it takes him a moment to answer. I suppose I don't know. It's a terrible place where I am. The ground is glassy and black. There are lakes of bubbling fluid I dare not touch. I have lived off of terrible fruit that grows on strange trees and sodden fields. It's an abandoned place. But how can you be here if you are in the lab? Mona glances around. Naturally, she doesn't see anything that he describes, just the cold, dark metal walls of this room. Coburn thinks. Unless, of course, you are not here. And I am not really there in the lab with you, which, I presume, is what you're seeing. The lab, I mean. She shakes her head. Am I wrong? Asks Coburn. Mona writes, No, you are right, agreeing. You look all black and white, like an old TV show. Coburn squints to read her
I
answer.
have a plan for this page, but I hope it works out.
He says, astonished, and he looks at his arms and hands. How marvelous. I see no effects here. What is wrong with your writing?
We're going
though?
to
It's
try and
horrendous. Well, fucking
trust the
forgive me,
process.
mutters Mona. Are you... Let me guess. He looks over his shoulder, but evidently he can't see what he's looking for. Are you in the room with the lens, Laura, right now? Mona glances at the mirror. She supposes it could be a lens, though it's not transparent. At least not in any way she can see. But she hasn't seen anything else that could be called a lens, so she nods. You are? How fantastic. Even though Coburn sounds like he's in dire straits, he appears fairly delighted with what she's told him. He licks his lips and glances around, thinking very quickly. Then it's true, I suppose. You know what this is, of course. Mona shrugs. You don't? Why, this is bruising, my girl, just like we always discussed. I expect it can't be affecting a particularly wide area, not if you vanished only a few yards away. It must not extend that far past the lens. But I cannot imagine it to be anything else. You and I would be quite pleased, my dear, if it hadn't had such awful consequences, wouldn't we? Huh? Says Mona out loud. I wish I knew what I look like right now. An image projected across realities. Though it is projected poorly, if your suggestions are correct. I don't know why, but I can see you plain as day, though you are a bit colorless. I guess the bruising must be more severe on your end. Have you witnessed any other effects, any other symptoms? What? Asks Mona. Coburn looks at her, perturbed. Why do you look so confused? Laura, have you been injured? Is something wrong with you? Mona decides the jig is up and writes, not Laura. This just pisses him off. What do you mean you're not Laura? That's not... You look exactly like her. If you're not Laura, then who the hell are you? Mona glances at him warily and writes, her daughter. When Coburn reads this, it's as if all the air gets knocked out of him. He staggers back a little, then sits down on the ground. What? He says softly. Her daughter? Mona nods. You're telling me the truth? Mona nods again. She sits down on the floor opposite him. You look a little different, I suppose. But I thought she had changed. She vanished before it all happened, but I thought she'd come back to help me. What happened to her? Mona wonders how to put this. Her own experiences with death have blunted any sensitivity to grief, so she mentally rummages through some greeting card expressions before giving up. She pulls a face, sighs, writes, died, and shows it to him. Coburn slumps forward in shock. She died? In the storm? Mona shakes her head. Then she died of natural causes, I hope. Mona diplomatically chooses not to correct him on this point. But if you're her daughter, how are you so old? How old are you? Mona winces. This, she knows, is going to be a nasty surprise for this guy, who seems to have had quite a lot of those in the past couple of years, or months, or however time works for him. But she guesses these things have to be done like Band-Aid removal, quickly and ruthlessly. She writes down her age and shows it to him. He sits up, and his hands fly to his forehead. What? You are 37? There are pops of white at the edge of his image, and he briefly grows translucent. When he comes back, he is saying, 37 years old? Mona nods. But then, and how long ago was the storm? What year is it over there? She sighs, writes down the answer, and shows it to him. He stares at it. His hands slowly drop. No. Mona nods. No, it's not possible.
Hey, Franny.
She nods again, then shrugs with her palms up. My sympathies, but what can I do? No, it can't be. It just can't. I can't have been stuck over here for over 30 years. I just can't. I remember everything like it was yesterday. Mona watches him helplessly. Is everyone else dead too? Did we lose everyone? Everything? She shrugs. You mean
Thank
you
you for
don't
the
know?
moo-moos and
She
the go
writes,
pops.
Don't know a damn thing, sorry. But surely some of them have to be around if you're at the lab. She writes, abandoned. The lab? The lab is abandoned? She nods. Oh, my lord, says Coburn. He slouches forward, face in his hands. I'll never get back. How could this have happened? How could things have possibly gotten worse for me? To her discomfort, he begins sobbing. Mona is sure he's in some pretty trying circumstances, since apparently he's actually trapped somewhere horrific. But it still feels weird to see him, this shabby old man, sitting on the floor, sobbing his eyes out. She wonders what to say, and decides grief counseling is not something that can be done via pen, paper, and a vocabulary that's been adversely affected by texting and the internet. So she just sits and waits. When his tears taper off, she writes, "What happened to you?" It takes him a while longer to gather himself. He stares into his lap, hollow-eyed, and says, "There was a storm during one of our tests. I'm not sure if it coincided with our tests or if perhaps our tests were the cause. But it was apocalyptic. I cannot even describe it." Mona, remembering her vision at the house, doesn't doubt it. She nods. "You were..." His image suddenly grows fuzzy and his words hiss, as if his signal being projected from wherever he is losing its strength. When he returns, he's in a different pose, sitting up. It's an unnerving sight, changing abruptly from one position to the other. He finishes, "At the time?" Though she missed the majority of that, Mona takes a wild guess and shakes her head. "Well," he says, "I suppose you wouldn't have been, would you? Did your mother ever," a flicker of static, "irk here, or do you have any theoretical physics background at all?" "Sure don't," she says, and she shakes her head. "I see. Well, I don't know how best to explain this.
Moo Bear, thank you for the
Bad
follow.
scientist. It is fairly complicated stuff. I wish your mother had told you a little about..."
Hey guys, if y'all are new here, my name is Tristan. I color daily. And once a week, we listen to an Audible book in color. We recently changed it to Thursdays, but I had to reschedule it this week for Friday. But this is just our easy night of just relaxing coloring, listen to a book. But usually I'm very lively. I do a lot of teaching of coloring. Mondays are beginner classes, beginner friendly stuff. And Tuesdays is a color along where we do a little more intermediate things. And so, yeah, thank y'all for being here. If you have any questions, just let me know. I know we're listening to a book, but I don't mind stopping, answering anything. The page that I'm working on tonight, I'm trying to do this glow jellyfish feel type thing. We're going to trust the process. We're going to trust the process. And here we go.
About it. She was crucial to
Thank
its
you, Dimples,
development.
for the follow.
Another flutter of static. "Bruising is also called universal collision signatures," he says. "It is, in layman terms, when one His image stutters, shrinks, returns. Shiz into another like bumper cars, because there's not just
Emmy.
one universe. Think of it like Bub..." His face freezes, while the rest of his body moves, hands gesticulating excitedly. "Face of water around a waterfall, rubbing, bumping, popping into one another." "Uh-huh," says Mona, who wishes he would stay still. "This is what we were meant to examine here, because if we could understand bruising, we could understand how the world works, how all worlds work. At the most fundamental..." He breaks up again, this time for a long, long time, more than a minute. Mona is sure he isn't coming back, and, panicking, writes, breaking up, on her notepad. When he comes back, he is saying, "Did you go again? Did you leave? It didn't look like you walked away." He leans forward and reads her note card. Though he is black and white, she can see he pales a little. "Oh no. Breaking up? Me?"
Right?
"That must be why
Glitching.
you faded out just then. Something's wrong. Whatever connection allows this, I guess it's..." His face blurs, solidifies. "Ill so much to explain that..." His image begins strobing, one hand frozen, the other still in motion. When he comes back, he is standing, his eyes alight,
Hello.
face fixed in mid-shout. "August Hall! What
Email.
side?
Thank you for the
Do you
heartbeat.
hear? On the what?" He fills with static, rivers of bursting gray and white. When he returns, he is panicked, yelling, "Hear me? Blank. Plank! 6626! Do you hear
Happy
me?
Friday.
662. Then he begins to fade out. A clearness starting in his center and moving to the edges until he is no more than a faint outline of a man in the air. Then he is gone, as if he had never been there. Mona sits there, staring around, wondering what just happened. Then she feels it again. Something clicks. It's some indefinable change in the room, but it's the same as when she was staring into the mirror, or the lens, as she reminds herself. But this time it's like something clicks out of place, rather than, as she now feels happened before, clicking into it.
Hello,
She was reminded of those old phone operators in the
humanarium.
50s, taking a cord and plugging it into one jack, then unplugging it and plugging it into another. It's like the cord just got ripped out of here, the room, the lab, everything. But what could have caused that? She looks at the lens.
It took me a
She's
second.
not sure why, but she's sure it has moved. Perhaps only minutely, but she's positive it's changed. Is it a lens, she now wonders? Or is it an antenna, communicating with someplace very, very far away? And perhaps when she was staring at it before, she somehow activated it, and it made some kind of connection to wherever it is Coburn is, the poor bastard. She's not sure how she could do such a thing, but she feels it's true. She looks down at her notes.
Well, if
She
it,
didn't realize it,
if
but she was
it,
desperately scribbling down everything he said in his final moments.
in my, in
Scroll
their
at the bottom of the
defense,
paper.
I am
In
a
pink slashes is
reading
6626.
interventionist, like dyslexia therapist teacher.
It
So
was something he wanted her to know, something
reading
important.
is my
Maybe
specialty.
a frequency or a code to something. She guesses she'll have to find out. Mona sighs. Well, shit.
What is everybody coloring
It takes her
tonight?
a couple of hours of fruitless, frustrating, aimless searching to find it.
You know
Or
what?
she
I
thinks it
think
does.
I think
It's hard
I
to
want
tell
a new
timing.
paper under the bottom for
What
this.
little power is coming out of the generator doesn't reach a lot of the offices, so it's just Mona and her flashlight, roving through the dim mess, scouring room after room
That way I
of
don't
decaying
accidentally.
modernist clutter. Conference rooms, stationery closets, bathrooms with brown streaks on the walls, the remnants of ancient flooding. Then, in the western part of Coburn, as, after all, the good doctor said something about the longest hallway on the west side, her beam falls across what looks like a white wall. She very
Oh, you
rarely
know it's
passes
got to
it
be a
by,
white
but
wall.
she realizes there's a faint outline in it, like that of a box or panel. Or a door. She walks to it and realizes she's right. There's a thick metal door here, painted the exact same color
Ooh,
as the rest of the
yay,
wall.
cozy
She runs her hand
Japan.
along its edges, trying to find a handle or a button, but there's nothing. She steps back and examines it. Curious, she kicks it. It's solid as all hell, but she's sure it's hollow on the other side. There's a room there. Maybe this is what Coburn was directing her to. But how to get in? The door is heavy enough to be a vault door, which would explain the 6626 combination he told her about. But she can't find any place to punch or enter it in. Frustrated, she glances around. The door is innocuously placed behind a rather small, barren cubicle, probably that of a lower-end employee. She looks at the desk, which is fairly uninteresting. Pencils, graph paper, a beat-up typewriter, some pictures on the wall. Then she looks at the pictures.
And
One is of the
Christmas
guy's family.
ornaments.
Wife, 2 kids. The wife sitting in a tire swing. She doesn't recognize any of them. Then her eye falls on another picture. This one's a black and white photo of what looks like the stuffiest, most interminably boring man on earth. He's bald with a thick, droopy mustache, tiny spectacles, and dead, tired eyes. There's an inscription at the bottom. It reads, Max Planck. Maybe Coburn wasn't saying Plank at all. Then she remembers something from high school. Planck's constant. That's a thing, isn't it? 6626, she murmurs. She thinks, and lifts the picture up off the wall.
Are we talking about Stitch
Set in the
here?
wall behind it is a tiny brass combination lock, like one for a briefcase, with 4 little shining wheels with tiny numbers inscribed on them. Mona turns them until they read 6626.
626.
There's a soft clunk from behind her. She returns to the white door and finds it's moved forward about a centimeter, enough to get her fingers around. She pulls it open. On the other side is a surprisingly large room with walls covered in wooden cubbyholes. Inside are 3 old film projectors, about a dozen tape players and recorders, and an absurdly huge box of batteries. Hanging from the ceiling by small chains is a sign reading, Records. Huh, says Mona. She walks in and starts looking through the cubbies. There are hundreds and hundreds of binders here. She flips through a few. They're all figures and transcripts of not only experiments, but discussions about experiments, and meetings about
Experiment
discussions
626.
about experiments, and on and on and on. She
This
never
is
had any idea that
Stitch
science involved
Secret
so much writing.
Laboratory.
Everything in this lab must have been carefully recorded somewhere, somehow, from the figures that went into the studies to those that came out of it, to the model, make, year, etc., of all the equipment involved. Even the batteries, for God's sake, which apparently they made here specifically for the experiments. Why lock all this up? Why should they be so secretive? Well, they would have to be, she thinks, if what they were recording was incredibly important, or expensive, or dangerous. And after talking to Coburn, or the picture of Coburn, she thinks that it might have been all 3. Mona looks at the film projectors. This would explain why her mother had so much film in her attic. She must have gotten a hookup at work. She looks at the film canister labels. They all sound fairly boring or obscure, except for one, which bears the rather unprofessional label of Success.
Success.
She pops the top off the lid and sees the film is intact.
Yeah, success.
She tests the wall socket and finds that the generator is apparently putting power through to here. Since she's now a damn expert on loading projectors, she feeds the film in, turns the projector to face one of the blank walls of the records room, and starts her up.
Hey, hey.
As before, there's no audio, just dingy,
It's good to see you,
yellow
JR.
images fluttering across the wall.
Welcome
She
in. I
fiddles
hope
with
you're
the
doing
lenses
well.
until they resolve. The film shows the big, metal-walled room with the lenses. Dr. Coburn is in front of the camera, standing so he's blocking the lens from view. He's dressed in a brown coat with elbow patches, and he sports a tremendous beard. Very late 70s, Mona thinks. He looks a little nervous, his eyes flicking about, his fingers rising up to adjust and readjust and readjust his tie. Someone must say something to him from off camera because he perks up, appears to say, "What? Oh," and steps aside so that the camera has full view of the lens. Only now there are 2 lenses. The second arm of the contraption, which looks so conspicuously empty, now has the missing mirror or lens. A great deal of wires run down out of the top of the arm to somewhere off camera, probably behind whoever's filming. Coburn is muttering quietly to someone, again off camera. He nods at them, eyebrows raised. "Are we ready?" He nods again, then clears his throat, smiles stiffly, and after a pause, begins addressing the camera.
Elizabeth, thank you for the follow.
Of course, Mona hears none of it. She has to sit and wait for him to get through his whole spiel, which takes about 5 minutes. While Coburn talks, some assistants or scientists come in and hold up sheets of paper or boards with the date and time written on them, as well as a test number. Coburn, still stiff as starch, awkwardly gestures to them. Then he begins pointing back to the lenses. Coburn reaches into his pocket and takes out a bright red ball, about the size of an orange. It's a croquet ball, Mona sees. Then, still talking, he takes out a knife and makes a long scratch down the side. He walks forward to the camera, holding the ball out. The operator has to hurry to adjust the focus, so that the viewer can see the scratch. It's shallow and made in the shape of an S. Then he walks back to the lens, and the camera zooms with a boom mic that floats into view now and again. There are 2 small metal tables on opposite ends of the round metal room, with the lenses in the middle. Coburn places the ball on the left table, square in the middle, where it's marked with a big X of black tape. He points to it and talks to the camera a bit. Then he points across the room, and the camera whirls, eventually settling on the table on the right-hand side of the room. This table is empty, but also has a big X of tape. The camera zooms out and refocuses on Coburn. He talks at the camera a bit and points at the lenses hanging from the ceiling. The camera zooms in to study them. It appears that age didn't touch the remaining lens at all. Its twin is the same. They are both perfect, maintaining a queer sheen even in the dingy light of the metal room. The camera zooms back out. Coburn is advancing, gesturing to the room, then to his staff, who are still off camera. He looks excited, anxious, terrified as hell. He points off camera again, bows, and exits stage right. From the shadows Mona sees on the ground, it looks like all his people are leaving too. Then it's just the camera, still rolling, filming a wide angle that captures the table on the left with the croquet ball, the lenses in the middle, and the empty table on the right. Mona sits forward. Obviously, it isn't safe for people to be in the room with whatever's about to happen. She keeps staring at the room. Nothing happens. Then, slowly, the lenses rotate so that one points at the table on the right and the other points at the table on the left. A light on the base of the arm near the ceiling flicks on. There's a long, long pause, more than 5 minutes long, 10 minutes long.
A long pause.
Mona wonders what sort of success this could be. And then it happens. It takes her a minute, but she notices something's wrong with the curvature of the walls on the sides of the room. She can't tell which way they're curving now. Is the right side of the room curving in, completing the circle as it should, or is it somehow curving away? It's so bad her eyes begin to hurt. After a lot of blinking, she thinks she's got it figured out. When she looks at the left side of the room, she gets the uneasy sensation that she's actually seeing both it and the right side of the room at once. Likewise, when she looks at the right side, she feels like she's also seeing the left side of the room. As
That
if someone
sounds nauseating.
took 2 film negatives and laid them one on top of the other. Then she notices something else odd. There's a shadow in the center of the empty table on the right, but it appears to be a shadow projected by nothing, hanging loose like the shadow from Peter Pan. It looks a little like the shadow of a ball, perhaps a croquet ball. Then, slowly, like someone gradually increasing the light on a lamp, something faint and red begins to appear in the center of the table on the right. Mona looks at the table on the left. The croquet ball is still there, but when she looks back at the table on the right, she sees something. It's not exactly a red croquet ball, but a lot like it, like it's a ghost, if croquet balls could have ghosts. It keeps growing brighter. And then there are 2 croquet balls, each sitting on its own table. The light on the arm of the lens flicks out, and when it does, the curving walls overlaid on one another vanish, along with the ball on the left-hand table, which leaves only the croquet ball on the right-hand table, which doesn't seem to be going anywhere.
Nowhere.
After a pause, Dr. Coburn bounds into view with a Geiger counter in hand. He remembers himself and assumes the stately walk of an established academic. He walks to the right-hand table with a croquet ball and holds the Geiger counter over it. The camera wiggles a bit as whoever was running it reassumes his or her position. Then it zooms in to show the readout on the Geiger counter. Mona doesn't know much about radiation, but judging by Dr. Coburn's face and his cavalier attitude, the number must be very low. Dr. Coburn picks up the ball and walks back to the camera. He holds it out again, and the camera focuses on its front. Running along one side of the ball is a meandering carven S. What the hell? Breathes Mona. Dr. Coburn, obviously pleased as punch, pops the ball back into his pocket. Hands folded before him, he addresses the camera with a few choice words. After remaining calm and respectable for a bit longer, he finally bursts out laughing. 2 of the assistants, grad students probably, come running in. One, the girl, to hug him, and the other, a pudgy, bearded man, to shake his hand. Then the camera operator walks around to adjust something below the camera's lens. Mona gets only one glance at that face, which is serenely triumphant. The face of someone who's been holding winning cards for a long time and knew she'd take the pot, but is still damn pleased to see it happen. And when she does, Mona can say only one word. Mama. Then the screen goes dark. Mona watches the film 2 more times. Then she starts to look at the records around her. The reports don't make any sense to her, and since she has no intention of staying here all night, she drops them and moves on. The tapes, though. The tapes and the transcripts are worth something. After about a half hour of gathering material, she starts playing a couple of the recordings and reading the files. With a bit more arranging, they start to resemble a story. Where the sky touches the earth. Taped rehearsal of meeting with Chair of Aeronautic Defense Subcommittee, August 4th, 1973, 10:30 a.m. Standard Time. Staff involved, Dr. Richard Coburn, Project Manager, Michael Dern, Chief of Staff. Static. Richard Coburn. Not even pertinent. I've never met this man, nor do I wish to. We have people for that, I thought. I'm sure I've seen some of them on the payroll at some point in time. Michael Dern. Yes, we've got people, but he's not coming to meet with people. He's coming to meet with you. Richard Coburn. Oh, that's preposterous. Anyone else would be better. Why can't you do it? You're a perfectly sensible young man, more or less. Michael Dern. More or less. Richard Coburn. Well, certainly. I mean, I don't know everything about you, but you seem... Pause. Michael Dern. Keep that charm flowing, and I'm sure our funding won't be touched. Richard Coburn. Oh, but he can't really touch our funding. He's some junior senator or something or other. There's that, I don't know, the overarching defense committee. They control our funding. They're the big boys we have to please. Michael Dern. And who do you think reports to them? Pause. Richard Coburn. Are you serious? Michael Dern clears throat. Why don't we get started? Richard Coburn. Fine. But started where? I've never had to pitch myself to laymen before. Communication is not my strong suit, Michael. This is not the job for me. Michael Dern. Well, you're not going to be just pitching yourself. You'll be pitching all of us. Not to put any pressure on you, but a lot's riding on this. Hence my urgency. I wanted to make you flashcards, but... Richard Coburn. I am not using flashcards. Don't be ridiculous. Michael Dern. Well, then you'd better get started now. Start at the beginning. Like, what do you want to accomplish here? Richard Coburn. Well, that is... We set out to examine... originally we set out to examine the behavior of subatomic particles under conditions highly similar to, if not exactly similar to, those of cosmic bruising. Michael Dern. Okay. Richard Coburn. By which I mean multi-universal breaches, though this term is under some scrutiny, whose signatures could only initially be registered by various frequencies of background radiation. Michael Dern. Yeah. Richard Coburn. And certainly have never been witnessed or measured in any location close to Earth. The reason being that if there had in fact been multi-universal contact, friction, bruising, or what have you, then there's a significant chance that the rules that reality usually observes could... I don't know why I'm telling you this. You know all this. Michael Dern. Yeah, yes, but you're not telling me. You're telling him. And let me give you a word of advice. Richard Coburn. Yes. Michael Dern. Don't tell him that. Richard Coburn. What? Which part? Michael Dern. Any of it. Richard Coburn. Why not? Michael Dern. Because to some junior congressman or senator or whatever from Illinois, that's going to sound like a bunch of abstract horseshit not worth spending money on. And that's what he's here to figure out. He's not here to be educated in the mysteries of the universe. He's here to figure out why this place in the middle of a mountain is worth the millions of dollars it's costing the American taxpayer. And he's going to say that, too. He's going to actually look you in the eye and say the words, costing the American taxpayer. Those will be this guy's favorite words, I guarantee it. It's how he got elected, I'm sure. So we've got to give him his proverbial bang for his proverbial buck. Him and his taxpayer. Silence. Richard Coburn. Oh, for God's sake, Michael. I told you I'd never be any good at this. Chair scraping. Michael Dern. No, come on,
One
kid.
jellyfish
You are not getting
down.
up. You need to sit down and practice this. This is important. Richard Coburn. There is no amount of practice I can do to make this go well. I am convinced of it. Michael Dern. Just, here. Do the whole Feynman thing. Explain it to a kid. Richard Coburn. Feynman? My God, don't get me started on...
Thank you.
And I enjoy the company of children even less than I do that of politicians, just so you know. Michael Dern. Well, I am fucking sorry. I am sorry you don't like politicians or kids or anyone without some amount of letters after their name, but this needs to get done. Richard Coburn. Don't you cast me in as an elitist. I'm not. It's just hard to talk to people like that. We don't operate in the same sphere, so why are you looking at me like that? Don't look at me like that. Don't. Michael Dern. To a kid. Go on, talk. Richard Coburn. Sighs. Well...
Thank you for the share. Oh, Crystal, let me give you a sticker. I remembered.
Well, it is suggested...
Barely, but I
there
did.
are other universes than ours. That's a pretty big thing to fit your head around, but it appears to be so. It's thought that there have always been these other universes, stretching back to the Big Bang, though we don't know exactly how many. And during the Big Bang, and especially the time directly after, these various universes made a lot of contact with one another. They bumped
Free
and banged and
hugs.
scraped into one another. It has taken us some time to measure and quantify this theory.
I hope y'all had a
but
great
we found
week.
certain levels of background radiation near Michael
It almost
Dern.
feels
Drop that.
it almost feels bad. Like, I'm off Wednesday and then I didn't get to see y'all yesterday. So it almost feels weird not talking to y'all and just listening to a book tonight. Right? Free hugs from the cactus. Think about the poor cactus. No one ever wants to hug the poor cactus. He's probably sad. Somebody hug this look, I was about to put colors crystal. Someone hug the poor sad cactus. He just wants a hug. That's all. But my plan with this is I'm going to do different color jellyfish. So we'll repeat this color a few times, but I'm going to do a couple different colors. The only thing I don't know what I want to do is the bubbles. Maybe do bubbles the same way, do the same colors and repeat them throughout. Right? Hoot and holler. We might have to, but it is cute. I really like it. But I told you I'll trust the process because I know this looks wonky, but once you get it all, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. This is a long chapter. Y'all, this chapter is 48 minutes long. That's wild. That's a long chapter.
And the names of the stars. Richard Coburn. I hadn't even gotten there yet. How did you know I'd name them? Michael Dern. Just drop it. Stick to the basics, Dick. Richard Coburn. You do know I'm your boss, don't you? Silence. Richard Coburn. Fine. Well, the places where these universes bumped into one another did not fully heal, to use medical terminology. They bruised. And since these places did not heal, the nature and behavior of these universes does not work quite right there. Like a football player tearing a tendon. It will heal, but it won't have the same range of flexibility. Or it will twinge and pop sometimes. Is this a good metaphor? Michael Dern. It's a fine metaphor. Richard Coburn. I feel like athletics is a very fertile ground for metaphors for politicians. Michael Dern. Athletics make great metaphors for politicians. Keep going. Tell him why this matters. Richard Coburn. Sighs. Well, if we can mimic these conditions, if we can create our own bruising, in other words, without having a whole universe crash into ours, then a whole host of possibilities opens up. Concepts like time, distance, tensile strength. Michael Dern. Tensile strength? Richard Coburn. Yes. We did the tests with rope, remember? Michael Dern. It's awful specific. Richard Coburn. How about just strength then? Michael Dern. Sure. Richard Coburn. All right. Strength and everything all becomes malleable, unpredictable. What we are chiefly interested in is travel. Michael Dern. What? Richard Coburn. I'm simplifying this for him. Michael Dern. Simplifying it into what? What do you mean? Richard Coburn. I am referencing the neutrino signatures. Michael Dern. Oh. Say transportation then. Richard Coburn. Oh, that's good. I should have thought of that. Yes. Transportation is what we're concerned with, because the primary consequence is a confusion of distance. Reality itself experiences aphasia. It forgets where certain things are, in other words. It's almost impossible to control, or at least it's possibly impossible. But we are attempting to see if it's possible to have one item traverse a distance, any distance, without actually moving. Michael Dern. Saying possibly a lot. Richard Coburn. I know, I just thought of that. Michael Dern. So how does the lens work? Richard Coburn.
Hey, Kay.
How much will he know about the lens? Michael Dern. He'll know it's over 40% of our budget. Richard Coburn. I see. Well, the lens was conceived to try and examine if our own day-to-day activities, at a subatomic level, of course, might hold some similarity with that of cosmic bruising. No reality is perfectly stable, in other words, just like no person or football player is perfectly healthy. But we quickly found that the lens had side effects, not dangerous ones. At least, we don't think so. Michael Dern. I would definitely cut that. Richard Coburn. Probably smart. Anyway, the side effects were that if we examined a particle with the lens in a certain manner, then the lens caused bruising itself. It seemed impossible at first, but, well, there you are. The closer we examine, the more the lens interferes or disturbs or interjects itself in such a way that it upsets things, like trying to look so close at someone that you actually knock them down. Michael Dern. You're doing great with the metaphors. Richard Coburn. Oh, should I stop? Michael Dern. No, keep going. This is good. This is very good. Richard Coburn. Well, I'm not sure where else to go. The lens causes what we are choosing to call subatomic aphasia. It interrupts our reality and elbows into a couple of others, a little simulating bruising. Our reality forgets that particle or particles is there. And in that moment, the thing it is examining is shoved partially into all those various other realities as well. So it could exist in a variety of states, places, etc. Even times, possibly, though of course that is quite hard to quantify. What we wanted to do was reduce the amount of possibilities until we had it in a binary state. That is, the particle is in two places at once. Two physical places, within our reality. Or it seems to be. We're not quite sure. Then we would need to simply shut down one avenue, one possibility. Again, this is so very theoretical, and then, ta-da, it's there. We'd like to be able to see if we can transport larger items. But again, we're not sure. The most interesting thing about all this, Michael Dern. More interesting than practical application? Richard Coburn. Incredibly more so, yes. The most interesting thing we found from the lens is that it suggests our own experience of reality is myopic. It is a bit like, like an ant crawling along a string stretched across a large room. The ant's experience is largely two-dimensional. It only cares about what's happening along the surface directly in front of it or behind it in a straight line. That's us. We're the ant. But the lens allows our perspective to expand outward. Our perspective gains more dimensions. There are things below us, above us, to our sides. There is an enormous unexplored gulf of existence, of realities all around us. We simply can't experience it because our perspective is a bit nailed down. You see? Michael Dern. Well, Richard Coburn. What's wrong? Michael Dern. I don't think this metaphor is a good one. Richard Coburn. Why not? Michael Dern. Because he's going to ask, what's in the corners? Richard Coburn. The corners of what? Michael Dern. Of the room. There's this big, huge room. Maybe there's something in
Hello,
the corner.
Patricia.
Richard Coburn.
Welcome,
Well, we just
welcome. Thank
don't
you for the
know.
heart
That's
me.
the curious thing about it. Michael Dern.
We are catching up on our
I'll leave it
audiobook
out.
for the
These
week.
type of guys, they tend to
We're
fixate
working
on
on
stuff
this
like
glowy
It's the war
jellyfish.
mentality, I guess. Richard Coburn. I can almost guarantee that there are no Soviets in the corners of this metaphorical room. Michael Dern. You know what I mean. Richard Coburn. Well then, if it comes to that, I will just say to him that we just don't know. And that's why we need money, Mr. Senator. We need lots of it.
We need
All of it,
money.
in big bags.
Money, money,
We
money,
need to
money.
figure out what the fuck is going on. Michael Dern laughs. Richard Coburn. Did you like that? It was rather good, wasn't it? Michael Dern. You say that and Laura will kill you. Richard Coburn. I have no doubt. Static. Transcript of progress interview. C-1037A, JC. Conducted by Michael Dern, Chief of Staff. January 3rd, 1974. Redacted name. So it's 100% necessary that this is taped. Michael Dern, 100%. Redacted name. Why? Who's going to listen to this?
Woo!
Michael Dern.
Oh, I see it. Thank you,
Not many
Patricia.
people.
Let me get you a
Redacted
sticker.
name. How many is not many? Michael Dern. 1. Redacted name. 1 person. Michael Dern. They get
Okay, we got the
praised
strawberry
once, and they get stored
milk.
safely. Redacted
Thank
name.
you.
Come on, Michael. Michael Dern. You're awful curious about this. Redacted name. Yes, I am awful curious about what happens to tapes made of me talking. How would you like it? Wouldn't you be weird?
Thank you.
Michael Dern. I have been taped so many times I don't even notice anymore. Redacted name. But you do know what happens to the tapes. Michael Dern. Yes, the tapes get transcribed. Redacted name. Okay, then what? Michael Dern. Probably shouldn't, but then the transcriptions get circulated to a committee, a really important committee, with your name removed. Redacted name. What? Why the hell would they do that? Michael Dern. Because there's always a chance that someone, I don't know who, but some asshole, could leak the interview. Redacted name. Because we do such singing, top secret work? Michael Dern. Yeah, you do. You do, you know. Redacted name. Yeah, I know all about that. Michael Dern. Still, they want to hear, you know, thoughts, opinions, etc. They want to hear it out of your mouth, but not, you know, your mouth. Redacted name. Is your name redacted? Michael Dern. Nope. Redacted name. Well, aren't you special? Michael Dern. My name is a matter of public record, so yeah, I am special. Not as special as you, though, but redaction. Redacted name. You sure know how to sweet talk. Redaction. Michael Dern. I do. So how's it going? Redacted name. That's it? Just how it's going? Michael Dern. We'll start there, sure. Redacted name. Seriously? Michael Dern. Seriously. Redacted name. Long pause. Not good. Michael Dern. No. Redacted name. Yeah, not good. And I'm saying that knowing full well that I could lose my job and the job of everyone else here. It's not good. Michael Dern. What's so not good about it? Redacted name. The results we're getting, redaction, is excited about them, sure, his redaction. But you've got to understand that, like, think of looking at a dark room. You see a flash on one side, then you see it again on another. What's the guarantee that it's the same light? Isn't a much more practical explanation that it's just two different lights that appear similar? Michael Dern. You know I'm a physicist too, right? Redacted name. Yeah, but you went to Stanford, so... Michael Dern. Very cute. So you're saying you disbelieve redaction? Hypothesis about the photon tracking. Redacted name. What I will say is that I think we've made more progress exploring photon signatures than we ever have on cosmic bruising. If there's one great contribution we've made to science, it's that. Michael Dern. What do you feel is the problem? Redacted name. It's the math. Listen, I know this theory is popular, the multiverse theory or what have you. Of course it is. It's dippy and crazy and fun. But the math isn't right. They can always adjust for whatever results they get. Nothing can get disproven. And if nothing can get disproven, nothing can get proven, Michael. And while I think redaction is making progress in a lot of fields, they're not the ones we're supposed to be making progress in. We have not found any evidence that we are anywhere close to simulating suspended bruising, nor have we found any evidence, hard evidence mind, that the phenomena we're witnessing, if we could call them that, are a result of bruising. Redaction, which I know is just his absolute baby, is an impressive device that has led to remarkable breakthroughs in particle physics, none of which he was looking for. Michael Dern, none of which you were looking for either. You helped design it. A lot of this was your idea. Redacted name. Pause. Yeah, but I mean, eventually you have to grow up, don't you? Michael Dern. How do you dispute the photon signature? Redacted name. I dispute it because the two signatures, which appear to be the same, but again, they can prove anything, because of how they're fiddling with the math, appear an insignificant distance apart.
Let me see.
I saw nothing suggesting transportation. It's not what we wanted to see. Michael Dern, what you wanted to see.
Thank y'all for the tap.
Redacted name. No, it's not what I wanted to see. I wanted to see something much larger. I don't know. I wanted to be talking nanometers, not Planck's lengths. Millimeters even. Fuck, centimeters. Michael Dern. That's extreme. Redacted name. Well, we wanted extreme. What we were first shooting at, when we were using solid numbers, I mean, was something extreme. If we could honestly induce subatomic aphasia, really create our own bruising, then we would be seeing something extreme. Significant displacement, indisputable duplication. I don't know, that's the thing. We just didn't know, and here we are. Now I know redaction are all excited over this, but they have their own redaction club, and you know, they all get together and titter over things. And yeah, it's not fun that I'm excluded from that group just because redaction. But I'm being impartial here. I really am. I don't think they're right.
Oh man,
even if they're
I ran
using
out
math,
and I needed a new one,
and the fucking
but the new one has a
Michael
chisel
Dern.
tip on the
You
outside.
think it's harmful? Redacted name. Are you stupid? Of course it's harmful. We've got all these people who do essentially the same thing.
Oh
Many of
well.
whom have been rivals for a damn long time.
Oh wait,
All
I could
cooped up
create
in
it
the desert,
out.
spending their time inside a fucking mountain, not getting the results they wanted. It's
Pause.
shark-infested waters here, Mike. Even if the sharks are wearing... What's that sweater that redaction wears?
Redaction.
Michael Dern.
Redaction.
Redacted name. Yes, fucking alpaca sweaters.
Alpaca.
You want us to lay aside our differences. Sit down. Create
Oh
something
man,
great,
you can't.
like they did at Los Alamos.
The tip is too
But this
wide.
isn't Los Alamos. There isn't a war going on, or at least not a real one.
Man.
And we're not Oppenheimer or Bohr or Feynman or
That
any of the rest of them.
stinks.
Just a bunch of assholes in the desert gnawing their arms off. Michael
I
Dern.
didn't know that.
And do you think they treat you differently, even from the others? Redacted name.
Redacted.
What? Because I'm redaction. Or because I'm a good-looking redaction. Silence. Redacted name.
It went
That's
really
very
well,
tactful of
actually.
you.
I was surprised.
To answer your
Excited. I don't
Yes,
know
I think
if I
you
would
treat
say
me
excited.
I think I'm excluded from a lot, but it doesn't stop there. The town treats us differently.
Maybe a little. I don't know.
You think the problems extend to Wink? Redacted name. Not these exact problems. And they're not overt problems. It's a sense, a way they look at us.
Okay, question. The way I'm doing the jellyfish, they're going to be different colors. Like I've got the green. I think I want kind of like a coral, maybe a pink. I don't know. question. So bubbles. How do we do the bubbles? Do we do them like matching jellyfish color? Like whatever colors I do the jellyfish, we do the bubbles as well? Or should we do the bubbles a different color altogether? Like, what do we do, y'all? And the reason I'm asking is if we're going to do the bubbles the same color as the jellyfish, then I can go ahead and do a couple of green bubbles while I'm at it versus having to pull the markers back out later. What do y'all think? Thank you, Franny. I went ahead and did one all the way so you kind of could trust the process and knew what it would look like. But, yeah. What should we do for the bubbles? I guess we'll just make it easy and just do the same colors. And that way we already have them out. Okay. Also, if you're new here, welcome in. We listen to an audiobook once a week. And this is our Audible night. All right, let's do it.
Michael Dern. Wink was built to support you all. Redacted name. And you don't think that pisses them off? Christ, I'd be disappointed. I mean, have you met us? They don't even have good television out here. They only broadcast shows from like 15 years ago. The Ozzie and Harriet reruns.
Oh, Lord.
I'm surprised
Not
we don't have
Ozzie
any
and
suicides.
Harriet.
But what's really bad about it is that we all know, somewhere in the back of our heads, that this is all supposed to be perfect. This place is supposed to be Michael Dern. The future. Redacted
future.
Name. Yeah, the future. We give a little to the town, the streetlights, power, other little innovations. But they know deep down that it's not a real place. It's invented. It's fake. Like Las Vegas, but worse. At least Vegas makes money.
Oh,
Michael
Lord.
Dern. What makes you think this facility doesn't make money? Redacted name. I guess that's a good point. We could be shoveling out patents and they'd never tell us. I guess redaction. Could have cooked up a whole lot of patents and they're just waiting to get out and, well, that would never happen, would it? Michael Dern. No. There are a lot of eyes on you all. Redacted name. You mean us all. Michael Dern. Right. Redacted name. For now, yeah. If we don't make more progress, I'm sure the eyes will look at something else. And the funding will go there too. Listen, I've said what I've come to say. Anything more you want to ask me? Michael Dern. Relationships. Silence. Redacted name. Yeah? Michael Dern. Are you involved in any? Silence. Redacted name. No, Mike. No, I am not. Investigation of equipment malfunction. Dr. Richard Coburn. August 13th, 1975. It is important to note, when considering this case, that the equipment involved, the suspended bruising lens, or simply lens, has so far functioned without issue or noticeable issue for the better part of half a decade. I have personally never witnessed any error with the equipment, and though our reports show what they show, I have some reason to doubt them, for reasons that will be made clear. Before the moment, I would ask all of you to remember that thus far the lens has given no hint of genuine anomaly in its performance, or at least not one on this scale. In short, I believe my testimony below will lead you to believe, just as I do,
I'll allow
that
it.
the issue is likely one of personnel, rather than an error in equipment maintenance, or data input. Redacted sentence. Some background. Stephen Helm is our chief lab assistant, and while previously his record was without blemish, I must report that
Okay, we gotta
he
figure
has
out our
voiced
next
some
colors. Hold on, let me put these
unfounded,
down.
in my opinion, concerns regarding the lens with increasing frequency. These were never voiced to me directly, nor have they ever been reported on record with Michael Dern, COS. But his issues have filtered through to me mostly from Eric Bentley and Laura Alvarez, who are, as you no doubt know, our primary researchers on staff. I did note some curiosity in Mr. Helm's behavior, but I chalked it up to simple laziness.
Okay, I did not
or
have another
restlessness, which is, I
colors
feel,
picked out, so
quite
y'all
a
bear with me.
reasonable assumption, considering our
Also,
location,
I
our
want to make sure.
seclusion,
Look at
and the
the.
high-pressure nature of this work.
That's so funny to me.
The greatest symptom of Mr. Helm's suspicions was his reluctance to enter
I was
the
thinking of
testing
doing
chamber,
like
which was, of
these.
course, quite an obstacle. Whenever someone needed him to enter the chamber, Mr. Helm was either not
Like
to
this
be found, or
orange,
he would
and then like
formulate
but
some
then I don't know, it's like
elaborate
orange,
task that had fully engaged his
and then
time
like
and
some
efforts.
purples.
Thus, we, the project manager and the primary researchers,
Oh, hold
would have to
on.
do his duties for him,
I got the
which
puzzle
often
piece.
consisted of adjustments,
Got the
measurements,
puzzle
and
piece.
other tasks that required little to no education. This went on for about a month before the incident. I suppose it's my fault that I allowed this behavior to continue. We've been working on this project together for so long and have become so familiar with each other that our strictures may have become a bit lax. The second symptom is one I did not witness myself, for I was never present. I assume the relevant testimonies are being presented to you independently. At least I hope they are. But on the rare occasions when Mr. Helm could be coerced to enter the chamber to do his work, he avoided the lens plates. Specifically, he avoided looking into their reflective surfaces. It was Dr. Bentley who first noticed this behavior, and he treated it with great levity, so I understand, making the usual comments one can expect about vanity, fixing one's hair, checking for food in one's teeth, etc. But Mr. Helm was not at all receptive to such
do a
treatment,
practice real
and I am
quick.
told his reaction was quite rude, shocking both to Dr. Bentley and Dr. Alvarez. Dr. Alvarez
Don't know if I want that. Just Shauna, thank you for the heart me. I don't know if I want that red in the middle.
All right at all around the lens. His reasons for this were vague and unclear. But if I may be honest, I believe he thought that when he looked into the lens plates, he imagined seeing something. I even believe he thinks he saw someone in the mirror who was not himself, i.e. a reflection of someone who was not there. Naturally, this is quite ridiculous. I have requested to have Mr. Helm removed from my staff.
Yeah, let's do
as any
it. Let's do
project
it.
leader would. But since the mishap with the lens occurred before Mr. Helm's impending departure, you must understand that I have reasons to suspect him in what happened. I do not find it at all surprising that some minds cannot bear the burden of the tasks that have been laid upon our shoulders, especially considering the manner in which they were laid upon our shoulders. Though I am sure you know this, our lives are solitary and highly disciplined, receiving little return or reward day after day. And though we and the rest of the staff enjoy our time in the constructed village, it often feels as if civilization is worlds away, which I suppose it is. The next issue, and the one I feel is most unfortunate, concerns Dr. Bentley, whom I have always considered a very reliable and respectable scientist. I would not have him on my staff otherwise, but even by my standards, he is most excellent. And thus, I find his actions a cause for deep regret. While he has never voiced any concerns about the lens or the nature of our work, despite its frustrating and often elusive nature, there were two events that I feel almost suggest a break with reality. I am very sympathetic to Dr. Bentley, and I understand that, again, our isolation and seclusion here, along with the nature of our work, will naturally have some pretty dire repercussions on the state of one's mental health. I myself am not above such maladies and have even taken up meditation to remedy it, which I cannot recommend highly enough. But even so, I cannot allow him to pass from suspicion. The first event occurred over half a year ago. I cannot recall the date. On a very late evening spent in the chamber, going over some statistical models that were not behaving as we had forecasted. Mr. Helm was not present. It was only Dr. Bentley, Dr. Alvarez, and myself. Dr. Alvarez and I left Dr. Bentley alone for a brief period to perambulate about the offices while we reconsidered the nature of our problem, and we later returned with some possibly fertile ground, which proved quite fertile indeed, I am happy to say. But we heard Dr. Bentley talking quite agitatedly within the chamber. We looked in and found him flipping through the statistical models, angrily discussing their contents aloud. even castigating his imaginary audience for not knowing what he was talking about. When they,
AI summary
as you
says,
recall, they
creating an
referred to
Audible
them as
drawing of a
they,
jellyfish by
knew
coloring
quite
it.
well what he meant, as they'd all been talking about it for the past 4 hours. Dr. Alvarez interjected from the door, and Dr. Bentley looked up, surprised, and asked how we'd gotten over there so quickly, and why we had changed clothes. Dr. Alvarez and I were quite confused by his comment.
Exotic
and
gas.
reminded him that we'd only gone on a quick walk.
What do you mean by?
All, which caused Dr. Bentley to stare into the
Does
far
what
side of the
change
room
the
with a
color
puzzled
of
look
the
on his
marker?
face, as if expecting
Oh, are you talking about me
to see
coloring
something.
over on top of another
When no one
marker?
appeared, he seemed quite disturbed.
No. I mean,
tired
sometimes
to
you might
eat,
get a little bit on
which
there,
we
but
all
not
agreed
really.
was a smart thing to do.
Because this is really dry.
Redacted
If it was
paragraph.
still wet, maybe.
This situation was much more distressing. I had been meditating on the mesa top, as is part of my morning ritual, and I descended to find Dr. Bentley shouting at Dr. Alvarez with considerable alarm and volume. This attracted the attention of the other workers, who began to mutter and mill about.
Basically, sorry. So basically what's happening is it's pushing the blue ink that's on the paper, it's pushing it through and like on here so that you can see more of the pink.
He saw me coming down the stairs in my robe. He stared and almost fainted. We took him to the medical room straight away. Dr. Bentley was most reluctant to discuss the matter. Dr. Alvarez privately informed me that he had come running out of the chamber shouting that I, personally, was in trouble. So agitated was Dr. Bentley that he was unable to articulate the precise nature of my trouble. But I assure you I was not in any trouble, having been sitting atop the mesa doing breathing exercises at the time. Eventually, we were able to extract the truth from him, or the truth he was willing to give us. He claimed he'd been working on the lens data feeds when suddenly the chamber filled up with a great shouting. He was so astonished, he leaped up and saw, and here I do pity him, me, Richard Coburn, standing in the chamber in ragged clothes, sporting a full beard, shouting the word plank over and over again. Then he claims I abruptly vanished. But this does not compare to his later actions, which, if I took them at all seriously, would be quite upsetting for me. For it seems he had been hiding.
Oh, shoot. I did those markers backwards.
Remainder of paragraph redacted. Additional redacted paragraph. It is quite sad to see that Dr. Bentley's mind has been so affected by our work. I have put through a request for transfer for him, and though I am dispirited by these developments, I do not regret my actions. Moving him away from the facility, perhaps only for a time, as his contributions are so valuable, will aid his mental health enormously. Dr. Alvarez, however, remains my most trusted and valuable colleague. I am aware she had issues with our work in the past. She is a little too devoted to details, I feel, and often misses the forest for the trees. But these have been resolved, and in recent months she has been more dedicated to our researches than ever. I say this because I am very aware that since Dr. Alvarez is the one who was directly involved with the incident, the most suspicion will inevitably fall on her. But as she has no history of erratic behavior, unlike her other two colleagues, and since the nature of her involvement was so incidental, I presume you have seen the film, I cannot imagine that she had any intentional hand in what happened. Redacted paragraph. The facts are simple. One Monday evening, Dr. Alvarez did a final check on the lens equipment. This is standard operating procedure for us, after which we always lock up the chamber.
Hey, Amy, welcome
Approximately 4
in.
minutes into her check, she began to shut
I hope
down
you're
the
doing
recording
well.
equipment. Not long after that, the power flow to the lens abruptly spiked. This we know due to the electrical monitoring systems I insisted be installed, which we now all agree was quite wise. The duration of the spike was a little over 40 seconds. 3 seconds into this spike, Lens plates
I'm doing
rotate a
good.
full 23 degrees clockwise.
Just trying to catch up
Then
on
they
our
stopped.
Audible for the week.
The spike persisted for another 9 seconds, then it ended. And this, really, is all we know, which is not much. There's a lot of hoopla going on about the data output.
A lot of
And
hoopla.
though what was recorded does suggest something very close to suspended bruising, redacted section. But we obviously cannot trust it because it occurred during what honestly seems to be either equipment malfunction, unlikely.
Since this is the first
or
one of this
sabotage.
color, I want to go ahead
In
and
my
do it all the way
opinion,
through
much
so
more
I can
likely.
see what it looks like.
There is also the position of the plates. While a reenactment of the incident does suggest that the plates rotated to point toward Dr. Alvarez's position in the chamber, I do not lend this development much credence. It does not stir any suspicion or concern in my mind. The position of the plates has so far proven coincidental to any success at suspended bruising. What concerns me most, as it must also concern you, is 5 redacted paragraphs.
Dang.
However, none of this can be proven to any satisfactory degree. Dr. Alvarez remains an exceptional scientist, possibly, except for myself, the most exceptional one I have ever known. And she herself did not register anything out of the ordinary during her time in the chamber. Due to the nature of the lens, she did not even hear it rotate, and she did not notice anything during the time that, per the reports, suspended bruising was achieved, though there was some concern she had been exposed to redacted section. But totally ridiculous. I also have no reason to
Sorry, I
believe
got
she
something in
was
my
involved
eye.
in the change in the lens. To be frank, the behavior of the lens can only lead me to think it was the result of external control. I am not sure if either Dr. Bentley or Mr. Helm has the means of setting up this sort of control, but the sequence of events, power, rotation, data output, does not seem accidental. Someone, somehow, was controlling the lens. I have requested your security teams examine and interrogate the facility staff in detail as a result. I am quite eager to hear what they will find. Redacted paragraph. Investigation into disappearance of Laura Alvarez. Taped interview C1036AB. Conducted by Chief of
Disappearance of
Staff Michael
Laura.
Dern. Subject Eric Bentley. December 14th, 1975. Michael Dern clears throat. This interview is the first of the staff-conducted investigation into the disappearance of Laura Alvarez. It's important to note that, as of right now, this interview is not officially sanctioned. Our instructions are still forthcoming. For now, we've been told to sit tight, but I figured that we need to do something now to prepare ahead of time, so no one got the idea that we were preparing statements. Eric Bentley. So how do they know this isn't a prepared statement right now? Michael Dern. I think it's likely they'll understand we haven't had the time to prepare anything. Eric Bentley. How do they know that? These aren't the most understanding guys in the world, am I wrong? Are we just promising them that we're making it right after she left? Michael Dern. You know you're on tape, right? Eric Bentley. Yeah. But how do they even know when she left? Michael Dern. Eric, I'm going to level with you right now and say that they have a lot more ways of keeping track of things out here than you'd expect. Eric Bentley. Like what? Silence. Eric Bentley. Cameras? Mics? Silence. Eric Bentley. Jesus Christ. Michael Dern. Let's just start from the top. Start from your return from your Eric Bentley. From my vacation? Michael Dern.
Oh,
Sure,
it's cute. I like it.
Eric Bentley. Well, it wasn't that long ago, but things had obviously changed. We'd made huge advances. They had, I hadn't been there for it. It actually simulated bruising several... Michael Dern. No, Eric. What they want to know about is Laura. Tell them just about her, just Laura. Eric Bentley. Okay. Let me think. Now there were marked differences in how she acted since when I left and when I came back. I was only gone a couple of weeks, but I could tell something was off. Something was wrong, I guess. She was... Can I ask you something, Mike? Michael Dern. Me? Sure, I guess. Eric Bentley. Did you think I went crazy? Michael Dern. I'm sorry? Eric Bentley. When they sent me away, did you think I had a psychotic break? Because I don't. I wasn't sure at first, but now I am. Michael Dern. That's not really.
Okay, I want
what
to do a
we're
bubble
asking
like
about.
this too, real
Eric
quick.
Bentley. Yeah, but see, it kind of is. You think Laura's disappearance is an aberration. You think it's unusual behavior. But I'm not so sure it is. Maybe it's something else. Michael Dern. So you think it's perfectly reasonable to just jump in your car with no preparation at all and leave all the way out here in the desert? Eric Bentley. I'm not saying it's reasonable. I'm saying there might be other factors at play. Listen, Mike, I know that on paper I am a wildly untrustworthy witness. I am untouchable, really. I'm here solely because Dick likes me, and I know it. But that doesn't mean I'm wrong. Michael Dern. Wrong about what? Eric Bentley. About the lens. About what it does. Michael Dern. I know what the lens does. Eric Bentley. You know what it does on paper, but it does more than that. Michael Dern. For God's sake, you sound like Stephen. Eric Bentley. And maybe we should have listened to Stephen. I mean, he had problems with it well before all this happened. Before I left. Before Laura. Michael Dern. Okay, fine. Keep telling me about Laura. What was different about her? Eric Bentley. Well, she used to look quite vivacious. There was an aliveness to her, you know? She used to run laps around the mesa like it was nothing. But when I saw her again, she looked unhealthy. She looked tired, like something was being pulled out of her. Michael Dern. That was noted. We did 2 physicals. Nothing showed up. Eric Bentley. Right. And you attributed it to exhaustion, which is a rational thing to do. But Dick was working just the same amount, right? And he didn't look that exhausted. And yeah, maybe it was all the meditation and the green tea, jasmine green tea, but I don't think so. Michael Dern. So what was it? Eric Bentley. I wasn't sure. I'm still not sure, but sometimes while I was talking to her, she'd suddenly
I know,
look to the
I
side,
love it.
like
The
she'd
colors are
seen
so cute.
something, but nothing was there. Or she'd wince, like she just heard something loud or grating right in her ear. It was like me. Michael Dern. Like you? Eric Bentley. Yeah, like how I was. That was why you all thought I was crazy, because I saw things. Michael Dern. You said you saw the members of the research team in random places throughout the facility. Eric Bentley. Yeah, I saw them. And we thought it was a hallucination. I did too. But maybe not. Silence. Eric Bentley. And maybe Laura was seeing and hearing things too. Things that were actually there. Michael Dern. But things only she could see. Right. I'm going to go ahead and remind you one more time that you are on tape. Eric Bentley. I didn't just see staff, you know. There were some things I didn't tell you. Silence. Eric Bentley. So that makes me wonder, what did Laura see? Michael Dern. Are you serious? Silence. Michael Dern. You saw this and you didn't tell us? Silence. Michael Dern.
Thank you.
It is so irresponsible that you were.
I think this page is going to look so cute when it's finished. I'm excited.
Eric. You were in danger. You should have told us everything. Eric Bentley. I know. But I didn't want it to be real. Michael Dern. Want what to be real? Eric Bentley. Well, it's like you said. I saw the lab crew and I saw them in different places, but in different sets of clothing, at different ages. I didn't tell you that. Like I saw you and Dick walking around examining the facility, but you had hair, Mike, and I swear Dick had like half the wrinkles he has now. I saw Laura and she looked about 5 years older, but she was filthy, dressed in a tank top and cargo shorts, and she was carrying around a fucking gun for whatever reason. And I saw myself when I didn't need glasses, just doing whatever, paperwork, smoking.
So,
and once I saw...
Okay, hold on a minute. When he said he saw Laura 5 years older with a gun, he's talking about the incident he saw Mona But these are tapes from the past. So Mona had visited the past. Wow. Hold on. My mind is trying to wrap this around. Oh my gosh. Okay, sorry.
Michael Dern. Saw what? Silence. Michael Dern. Saw
It
what, Eric?
is. I'm like, hold on a
Eric,
minute.
I saw you and Dick and a lot of the other staff screaming. The walls were shaking and the floor and ceiling were cracking. Lights going out, and someone said, "There's something up there." Silence.
It's like A Wrinkle in
Michael Dern.
Time.
What do you mean? Eric Bentley. I don't know. But I thought he meant that there was something on top of the building. The mesa, I mean. I don't know. Silence. Michael Dern. Jesus Christ. Why didn't you say any of this? Eric Bentley. Because I wanted to come back. Because I wanted to keep working. But now I know I shouldn't have. When I saw what Laura was doing, well, why tell you this? I'm sure you have it on film. Michael Dern. Have what? Eric Bentley. What she was doing with the lens. Michael Dern. We don't... Paper rustling. I don't, think we have any recorded examples of any, misbehavior with the lens. Eric Bentley. You don't? At all? Michael Dern. No. Eric Bentley. Well, I swear, she would just do it for an hour or something. Michael Dern. Do what? Eric Bentley. Just stare into them. She would just stare into the lens plates with her nose about an inch away, like she was transfixed. I caught her several times. That was when I really knew something was wrong. Michael Dern. I don't have any... God, I don't have that at all. Eric Bentley. Then I guess she was screwing with the records. Michael Dern. She couldn't. Eric Bentley. Well, she did. Or someone did. I think I found her like that at least 3 times. And each time I caught her, there was something wrong with her eyes. It was like there was something else in there. Michael Dern. What do you mean? Eric Bentley. I wasn't sure until I stopped her. On the day she left, the day she just jumped in her car and started driving east. Before that, I stopped her in the hall and I asked what was wrong because she looked troubled. And she stopped and looked at me, and it was like... It's impossible to describe. It's like there was someone else in there. In her head. Someone who wasn't Laura at all.
Oh my.
Michael Dern. I'm going to just say once more, with feeling, that you were on tape. Eric Bentley. I know. Michael Dern. A tape that will be heard by important people. Eric Bentley. I know. I also know what I saw. I'm telling you, she didn't know me, Mike. Total lack of recognition. She wasn't sure who or maybe even what I was.
What?
And there was this shivering or wriggling all in her corneas, as if behind her eyes there was nothing but worms.
Ew.
Silence. Eric Bentley. I let her go. I was so unnerved, I let her go. I shouldn't have done that. Silence. Michael Dern. No. You shouldn't
That's why
have.
she was looking all crazy.
The lens does something, Mike. I'm sure of it. It pushes at the boundaries of things. I remember Dick once said the way it transports is like a kid throwing a ball up through one skylight, so it comes down through another skylight a couple of walls away. And that just stuck in my head. Michael Dern. Why? Eric Bentley. It was actually something you said before about another metaphor of Dick's. The ant on the string in the room. Michael Dern. Oh, I think, yeah, the thing with Eric Bentley. The corners. What's in the corners? Michael Dern. Right. Eric Bentley. Yeah, so while his comparison with the skylights isn't correct, because that's not really how the lens works, it just makes me wonder if we are making holes somewhere. In some part of the world we can't measure or quantify. And if the holes are there, then what else can come through? Michael Dern.
Ooh, what's coming through
like
the
Eric Bentley.
holes?
I know. You said it already. Stephen. Michael Dern. Did Did he tell you everything, Eric? Because Steven told me everything. After all, he couldn't go to Dick, so he came to me. And it was fucking insane. It was fucking insane, Eric. He said that the lenses were windows and there was someone on the other side of them. That's what he said to me. He said there was someone on the other side watching. And then, I swear I am not making this up. This is what he said. He corrected himself and said, or something. And he was dead fucking serious. Now, is this really something you want to get
Did the
behind,
creatures
Eric?
come
Do
in
you really want to
from
discuss
the
this
holes in the
seriously
time?
on tape with me and throw your career behind this sort of shit? Eric Bentley.
And that was the lightning
I
storm?
saw
Them coming
what I
through the
There's no way
time?
around it. Michael Dern. Christ.
AI
Silence.
summary says a tense audio drama
Bentley.
about a scientist's
We'll have to set up a
disappearance.
perimeter,
What do you
right?
think
One of
happened?
those search nets, APB, all that stuff? Michael Dern. I think so. I assume that's why no one's here to tell us what to do. They're all looking for her. Eric Bentley. I asked because I think she made a lot of changes to the lens before she left. Michael Dern.
Dun dun dun.
What kind of changes? Eric Bentley. I don't know. I'm not allowed to be around the lens that much since I got sent away. And besides, I was never as good as she was. Michael Dern. You're sure? Sure she made changes?
Oh, look, I put the green up and I only did one bubble. Like, obviously, I need to do more
Well,
bubbles with the green, but oh
Fuck,
well,
man.
it is
Let's
what
hope
it
it
is
wasn't anything important.
right now.
Eric Bentley.
Dang, my eye keeps
go take care of
itching,
it.
y'all.
Michael Dern. Yeah. Yeah, he fucking better. Jesus. Soundtrack tape to JLB. Film stock missing. May 13th, 1983. Footsteps echoing. Unknown voice 1.
Okay, so
Hurry,
this
come
chapter, it was not 45 minutes long. That was how long we had left. It's an hour and 26 minutes. That's a long freaking chapter.
Voice 2. Perhaps Richard Coburn.
It's almost
I
over.
am hurrying. You should have warned me about this. Unknown voice 1. I did warn you. I told you 2 days ago it was happening. Possibly Richard Coburn. I don't even... Unknown voice 1. It wasn't just me. It doesn't matter now. Just come and look. Banging, squeaking, possibly hinges. Unknown voice 1. Through here. Richard Coburn. Is it really necessary we go all the way up? Unknown voice 1. Yes, it is. Come on. Up the ladder. You go first. Richard Coburn. Oh, well, Rustling. Banging. Static. Unknown voice 1. You're sure the lens is on? Richard Coburn. Of course it is. The test is scheduled to continue for the next 15 minutes. So
Yeah, it is.
Unknown voice 1. Good. Then it lines up perfectly. Let me just... Rustling. Unknown voice 1. Push. Hinges. Squeaking. Richard Coburn. My God, it's cold up here. I haven't... Crackling. Unknown voice 1. Do you see it? Sound of wind. Unknown voice 1. Yeah. There it is. Silence. Richard Coburn. My word. Unknown voice 1. Yeah. Jesus. Silence. Richard Coburn. It's heat lightning. Unknown voice 1. No.
Oh, is this
Richard
the
Coburn.
storm?
No. Unknown voice 1. No. I've seen heat lightning before, and that is not heat lightning. Richard Coburn.
It's
Then what
the
is it?
creatures coming through the
Silence.
time hole.
Richard Coburn. And you say every time we perform a test, then unknown voice 1. The lightning comes. Yeah. I don't even know how long it's been going on for. Paul just happened to notice it. It isn't on any meteorological forecasts. Richard Coburn. It's so odd that it's silent. Unknown voice 1. I know. Silence.
Silent
Unknown
lightning?
voice 1. So what do we do? Silence. Unknown voice. So what do we do? Silence. Static. The people from elsewhere. Chapter 31. Mona listens as the tape continues in silence. Every document she's read and every tape she's listened to has made her feel sicker and sicker. But it's not until this moment, as she listens to Coburn staring silently at the lightning-ridden sky, that she really begins to understand what happened here. She punches the stop button on the tape player. With a loud pop, the wheels stop turning. She sits back. There's a knot in her stomach, and it keeps getting pulled tighter. She has only pieces of what happened here, snatches of conversation and patches of reports. But she feels she is on the border of comprehending it. Yet it almost defies her. It's too huge, too strange, too impossible. She remembers reading the word pan-dimensional and wondering what it had to do with anything. She remembers Mrs. Benjamin producing her 2 mirrors, murmuring with a sneer that Coburn never made anything actually worth making. She remembers Parson telling her about the little birds who flew to the top of the mountain from a dying world. And she remembers her mother whispering in her ear that she was not from here. She was from somewhere far, far away. And one day she would come back and take her little girl home. There's another loud pop. Mona jumps. She peers at the tape player, puzzled. It isn't moving. But then that pop sounded awfully metallic. She sits back and sees over her shoulder that there's someone standing in the doorway, pointing something very large and very shiny at her. And she realizes the pop wasn't the tape player at all.
Oh, Lord, was it a gun?
"Hey there, pretty lady," says a voice. Without thinking, she tenses up. Says a voice. "You just hold on there. I would hate to do anything mean, you see. And what I got trained on your back does nothing but mean things." Mona sees. She stays still. "Hands," says the voice, relaxed. He sounds as if he's having just a ball of a time. She raises her hands. The barrel of the gun jerks up. "Now go on, stand up." Mona stands up. Then she turns her head to see who it is who's gotten the jump on her. It's a young, chiseled-featured man wearing one of those not really cowboy hats, because no real cowboy would be caught dead in that beaten straw thing. A pearl snap that is unsnapped past his sternum, and jeans so tight, Mona is surprised he could get up the stairs to hear.
Oh,
That
Lord.
is, if he did take the stairs. Despite these ridiculous ornamentations, he's quite attractive. And were this a year ago, when Mona idled her evenings away shithoused in dive bars, he would be the sort to receive from her a very, very forthright invitation to dance.
Okay.
"Well, now," he says. and
Wow,
grins.
now, partner.
It's a grin of perfect,
Partner?
thoughtless confidence. "What in the world is a cute thing like you doing in a place like this?" And that just does it. There is something in his cocksure smirk. Perhaps it's unearned, swaggering bravado that makes Mona want to put a brick
I don't
through
like this.
it. "Reading,"
I
says
feel like
Mona.
this is too
"I don't really care,"
bright.
the man says. "It was one of them rhetorical questions. You ain't supposed to be doing anything in here. This ain't a place anyone's supposed to be in." Says who? Says,
Oh, you know what? I guess it'll
Says
whiten
me.
up a little bit
That's
as
it.
we get
he looks around at the records room, uncertain.
when we
"Now,
do our white charcoal.
what the hell is this?" He looks surprised. So he's been here a lot, but he's never seen this. "It is what it looks like, I guess," she says.
I'm gonna wait to do this part
How
until
do
I
you
do
find
this
it?
because I'm gonna have this hanging
By
over.
looking? "Shit." He shakes his head, then nods his head down the hallway. "All right, then. Come on." "Where are we going?" "To wherever I say to go. I don't know how in the hell you got in here, but I know how you're getting out."
Oh, okay.
He steps to the side of the door and gestures with the gun. Mona, arms still raised, slowly walks out. But as she does, she eyes his piece. It's a Desert Eagle, the Humvee of pistols, ostentatious, impractical, ridiculous. And he's holding it one-handed. She starts thinking. He keeps the gun pointed at her while he enters the records room and picks up her backpack. "The shit?" he says, holding up the pink child's backpack. "What you got in here, Barbies?" He starts digging through it. "Oh ho!" He holds up the Glock. "Goodness, this ain't no toy." He looks through the rest, smirking, and tosses the backpack over his shoulder. "Well, this is interesting. This is damn interesting," he says. "Now go on, down the hallway." They start walking. She listens hard, counting his footsteps. About 4 feet away, she thinks. So how'd you get in here? He asks. I took the back door, she says. Oh, you did you? Yes. And the stairs? The stairs? Mona can tell he's not sure if she's joking anymore. What's your name? Martha, she says, pulling a name out randomly. Like hell it is. You don't look no 80 years old, and that is a name for an 80-year-old woman. What's your real name? Martha, she says again. What's yours? He laughs. What the hell are you doing out here, Martha? Reading. He laughs again. I'm going to enjoy you, I got to admit. Mister, what are you going to do to me? Don't know. For now, we're just going to walk. Then I'm probably going to wind up taking you to meet some people. What kind of people? The kind with questions. And those questions they got are the kind that get answered, if you see my meaning, Martha. She is silent. You understand? He asks. I understand. Good. She angles her head to look at him over her shoulder. He lopes, strides, saunters. He's a perfectly relaxed creature, enjoying this game, ambling behind his captured quarry. He hasn't done this before, she thinks. He doesn't know a damn bit about what he's doing. That doesn't mean she has to get ugly, but if she winds up having to, she's
My last
confident
comment do
she'll
purple,
wind
so
up
like
on
purple,
top.
purple, purple,
She says, Mr.
purple.
I didn't know I was doing anything wrong. Silence. I have $100 in my wallet. You can take it if you just leave me be. Of course, she has no such thing. She doesn't even have a wallet. But immediately she feels his hand invading her back pocket, and his fingertips encounter far more of her ass than is necessary for a wallet search. She flexes involuntarily, which makes him grip her buttock a little harder. He removes his hand and laughs, delighted. Bullshit, you ain't got no $100. Mona is quiet. You got a lot, though. A whole lot. She says nothing. And I'm in a pretty good mood today. Damn good mood. But it could get better, you know? She doesn't answer. Yeah, you know, you got a lot to give. And I'd let you go if you were to give it.
Oh my Lord.
She hears his footsteps getting closer behind her. She peers back over her shoulder a little, looking for the fish lure silver of that ridiculous gun. He takes this for a positive signal and moves a little bit closer. Oh well, she thinks, might as well get ugly. There's a reason why, in real life, folks keep other folks at gunpoint from a distance of over 4 feet. Primarily, if your guy jumps one way or another, you only have to move your aim a little bit to hit him. But if you're right up close and he jumps, you have to wheel around like an idiot to try to draw a bead. So when Mona leaps back and to the left, she's out of the Desert Eagle's range of fire almost instantly. And since he's holding this immense heavy gun with just one hand, it only takes a firm grasp on his wrist and enough force down on the end of the barrel to pop it free from his grip, like a bar of soap in the shower. For a moment, they just stand there, Mona holding the gun by the barrel, the man staring at her blankly, wondering what just happened. Hey, he says, which is when Mona pistol whips him.
Dang, get him, girl.
And maybe it's because she's still disturbed by what she discovered in this lab. Or maybe it's because he just cupped her ass and suggested she fuck him for her freedom. But Mona puts a lot more weight into it than she normally would. The young man's cheek practically explodes. He staggers back against the wall, face bleeding freely, eyes wide. But there's something about hitting someone that makes you want to do it again. So Mona does. 6 times more, in fact.
Dang.
Each time about as hard as the last.
She has lit him
Each time,
up.
his attractiveness integer goes down a notch until he's nowhere near a 10. When she's done, she just stands there, breathing hard. It's dark, but his face looks caved in. She realizes she might have just killed him. Then he moans. So he's still got a shot, unless she damaged his brain. But a lot of her work was on the more superficial parts of his face. The world's lost, she thinks. She grabs her backpack, puts a boot in the middle of his back, and searches his pockets. She finds a set of keys, a wallet with a ton of money in it, and a piece of paper. She reads it, squinting in the dark. It's directions of some kind, like he was sent to find something. and one of them tells him to check here. So he was never meant to find her. That's good, she thinks. Then he must have come alone. But they will be expecting him back eventually. And since this is the last place on his list, it's likely it's the first place they'll look. She stares back down the hallway. She wants to go back and grab as many of those old records as she can. Some piece of them, some rambling paragraph or a static-smeared voice, must have a kernel of truth in it. But she knows she can't risk it. She needs to leave, and soon. She takes her boot off him and steps back a little. He's breathing, just barely. Mona's never killed anyone, and she has no wish to start now. But abandoning him here might be a rough equivalent. Yet even she can see it's not particularly wise to try to lug an unconscious man down a mountain in the desert, especially one who now has plenty of reasons to kill her. "You're on your own," she says. "Sorry." She looks at his keys as she walks away. He seems surprised to hear about a back door to this place, which means he must have used another way in. She walks until she feels a slight breeze on her face. She sees there's a little more light down one hallway than the others. She walks toward it and finds there's a small open door with a metal ladder inside, going up. Marked above it are the words "Emergency Ladder." She starts climbing, the brilliant blue sky pouring in on her more and more with every rung. Then she heaves herself out. The light is blinding after her hours in that shadowy place, but she's never been so happy to be out of the dark. She shuts her eyes, then cracks them and opens them wider and wider until she can see. She's on the mesa top. She expected it to be a beautiful sight, but it's the exact opposite. The mesa is covered with twisted, blackened metal debris, shards of missing structures, exposed piping. Something big was here, she thinks, and she recalls the telescopes from the mural in the lab. But this doesn't look like the careful work of a government reclaiming its investment. Whatever was here was destroyed, decimated. It's a war zone. She fights a wave of vertigo when she realizes how high she is. The brown ripples of hills and mountains stretch for miles in every direction. She walks to the edge and sees she can easily climb down if she's careful. There's a glint of metal from just a few dozen yards ahead, and she can see a huge truck parked on a dirt road winding around the mesa. It must have been the cowboy's ride. Then she stops, thinks, and she turns around to examine the ruins on the mesa top once more. Her perspective is a little better from here. She can see where the telescopes and the radio towers once stood, and perhaps Coburn himself once stood in this very place to watch the lightning in the sky. But Mona's not interested in any of that. What she's interested in are the two huge, long depressions in the mesa's surface. They're more than 100 feet long, oblong with undulating edges, forming awkward figure eights among all the devastation. They don't look natural. Yet from the absence of piping or metal or concrete, they don't look man-made. But the damage to the mesa top radiates outward from them, as if it had been struck by two meteors. But meteors would have done a lot more damage to this place, and the two indentations in the mesa top would not match so perfectly. They look, Mona thinks, a little like footprints, big ones, as if something the size of the mountain itself once stood here, staring out at this dry, brown-red world, and the tiny town just below. She remembers something from one of the tapes. She says it aloud, quietly. "There's something up there." She turns to leave as fast as she can. The cowboy's truck is a battleship of a vehicle. Mona's about to hop in the cab when she recalls a time from her cop days when some foolish soul stole a truck with the owner's Rottweiler sleeping in the back and was promptly mauled upon arrival at the chop shop. So, carefully, she walks to the edge of the truck bed and peers in. It looks like the cowboy was preparing for a mining expedition. There are pickaxes, shovels, jackhammers, ropes, pulleys. There's a bundle at the end of the bed, something wrapped in canvas, presumably whatever the cowboy was mining. Maybe it's gold, Mona thinks for no reason. Then she thinks, what the fuck am I going to do with gold out here? She pulls the top of the canvas back. It's not gold, but two smallish cubes that look to be made out of old iron. Huh, says Mona, and she reaches out to pick up the smaller one. She picks it up one-handed. It's not that heavy, but there's something odd about it. It doesn't feel like metal to her, but flesh. There's a give to it that is distinctly organic, and it sticks to her, like it doesn't want to be put down. Yet when she sets it back in the bed of the truck, it makes a metallic clunk sound. It's when she takes her hand off it that she suddenly smells something ionized and dusty, like a lightning strike out in the desert, and she imagines someone whispering softly in her ear. She shudders. She needs to get the hell away from this place. Mona throws the cab door open and looks in. Then she sees what's sitting on the floor of the passenger side. Her jaw drops. Oh my God. There are a few things you'd never guess about Mona from looking at her. The first, as has been already mentioned, is her age. Mona's a good decade older than she appears to be, and on learning this, people tend to instantly like her less. Partially, it's because they're far more forgiving of her lifestyle if they think she's in her late 20s rather than late 30s. But mostly, they're just upset she ages well, and they usually don't. The second thing is that Mona, who is an absolute tomboy in so many ways, is actually really good at crochet. She can make hats, scarves, mittens, pot holders, and even coats of impressive quality and with many different and complicated patterns. She had to keep this a dead secret from her friends, especially those on the force, but she made quite a profitable side income selling her goods online. And the third, which is probably the most surprising, is that Mona has probably received several times more expert rifle training than your average American soldier. While her father roughnecked around West Texas, he and his daughter had little common ground, until the day he took her deer hunting, and she showed a remarkable aptitude with a gun. Part of it was just genetics, for Earl Bright himself had served in the 75th Ranger Regiment at the tail end of Vietnam, and had been a commendable marksman himself.
Vietnam.
Their hunting or training trips soon became the only oases in their acrimonious relationship, and Earl began taking her out to the country more and more, mostly just to get her to shut the hell up. As a young girl, Mona sucked up every bit of knowledge Earl Bright had to offer. She came to know the dance and wriggle of every type of round, the rifling twist rate of every rifle, and the primer type of every commercially available cartridge, the difference between shooting with a hot barrel and a cold one. She came to intuit which parts of the landscape better serve the shot, and how to sit for hours at a time with her eye to a sight without allowing herself to cramp, how to ignore hunger for most of the day, how to keep her hands warm and functioning in the cold, and how to stalk through mesquite forests and huisache forests and pine forests. Looking back, it's only fitting that Mona's childhood was not based around any sense of love, but the slow, bitter, patient task of killing. For a killing, as young Mona learned, doesn't start with the pull of a trigger and the bite of a bullet. A killing starts the instant your toe touches hunting ground and you begin circling what you've come there to fell. So when Mona's eyes fall upon the marvelous piece of weaponry sitting up against the opposite truck door, it's a little like a Stradivarius falling into a violin prodigy's lap. To her, this rifle is such a beautiful, powerful firearm that she almost cannot believe it. And when she grasps the stock and picks it up, 1,000 muscle memories spring to life, kindling many long dormant instincts and desires in her mind. She can't imagine how much this thing must have cost. Christ, she thinks. And she smells its muzzle. It hasn't even been fired much. There are even boxes of rounds all over the floor. She brings the butt up and peers through the optic. Then she wheels around and sights a tree below. It's not been bore-sighted well. She immediately senses that the reticle is far too low for the distance to the tree. Were she to shoot now, the shot would be high. But she is overjoyed to have this realization come rushing into her head. It's like kissing or having sex for the first time in years. You remember where things are supposed to go.
Oh, Lord, children, close your eyes. Close your eyes.
And everything is so impatient. She tosses her pink backpack in the cab and situates the rifle nearby. She wishes the cleaning tools were around, or she doesn't trust the state the cowboy left the rifle in. But it is still a gift. She turns the truck on, the diesel engine guttering to a roar. Maybe now, since things are going her way, she'll get some answers. Chapter 32. It's such a boring day for Megan Toohey. The most boring out of a boring couple of weeks. As she lies under a primrose jasmine, kicking at the cascade of leaves with her small bare feet. She reflects that all of this happened because of the funeral, which of course makes her wonder if this is her fault. It shouldn't be, she thinks. She'd never been to a funeral before. People die so rarely in Wink. When she first heard the news, she was so confused, she asked her mama, "So what do we do now?" "We pay our respects," said her mama. "We have to go and pay our respects, dear." "How do we do that?" "Well, we dress up and we go see him get buried. We all go and hold hands and listen to the preacher speak as a community." "But I don't want to do that," said Megan. "Well, that's too bad," said her mama. "You're going." She wanted to ask her daddy what he thought, but her daddy stayed down in the basement, smoking cigarette after cigarette, and all they ever got out of him was a hoarse yes, or no, or uh-huh, emanating from that thick blanket of smoke. She asked her mama once what he did down there, and her mama said, "Well, he..." And then she didn't say anything at all. And since Megan had never been to a funeral, and since funerals are so stiff and uncomfortable, she behaved pretty poorly, taking off her shoes and picking at her toes. And though she didn't know it,
Melinda,
got so bad
thank you for the heartbeat.
her mama got upset, like crying upset. And Megan's daddy leaned over, eyes glimmering and face cold, and he whispered something to her mama. Then her mama hauled Megan out to the parking lot, where, for the first time in months, she pushed Megan over her knee and spanked her. And this was not a spanking like any Megan had received before. This was no warning, no threatening tap. 2 hits in, Megan realized her mama was really, genuinely trying to hurt her. And Megan got so scared, she started crying too. And both of them just sat there in the car, crying while those people put that box with the man in it in the ground. "You can't do that," her mama said. "You can't do bad things in front of your neighbors. They all saw, all of them." "I'm sorry. I didn't think it was bad." It was. It was so bad, Megan." "I didn't know. I didn't, I promise." "Doesn't matter," said her mama. She shook as she stared at the people standing around the hole in the ground. And then Megan realized her mama was scared. Way more scared than she was. And she understood a little, for there seemed to be so many unspoken rules to how adults live their lives.
Yeah, 1 second, okay.
Always maintaining a constant image of prosperity and happiness. Megan felt sure she'd just shattered theirs for everyone, so went to see Lady Fish straight away after, and that calmed her down a little. But ever since, no one will come out to play. It's as if that day changed everyone. They stay inside, staring out the windows with wide, frightened eyes. It's like they're waiting for something. Only Megan gets let out to play. And that's because her mama sleeps all day now, and her daddy, of course, just stays down in the basement. But there's no one to play with. Megan is alone. Even Lady Fish.
I just took 2 colors. I took Stormy Night and Deep Cerulean. And I did the darker shade on the outside and the lighter shade more towards the inside. And what I did was I worked my way around and kind of just left this opening around the jellyfish where I knew I would be doing a glow. So it wasn't that bad. Not that hard. And then I just take my glow color and just kind of swirl it around to get the glow around the jellyfish.
Left. Just up and vanished in the night. She feels sure it's her fault. If she had not been bad in front of everyone, if they had not all been there to see, then perhaps everyone would still be happy together. Megan sits up. Someone is walking her way through the brush. She peers through the branches and sees an old lady hiking across the hillside behind their house. Megan thinks she recognizes her a little. Isn't she the lady from the courthouse, maybe?
not that
She
bad.
wasn't
I mean, it
sure.
has a little bit,
Megan
but
wonders
it
if the
kind of
old
adds to
lady
the
is coming
texture
to
of
her,
I'll zoom
but
you
she
in just a
veers
second.
away down toward the woods at the bottom of the hill. Right away, Megan realizes where she's going. Slowly, Megan creeps out of the jasmine's branches.
Wait, why isn't it
She
letting me
walks to
zoom
the edge of the
in?
hill and sees the purple and white pattern of the lady's
So
dress
you
weaving
do
through the
see a
pine
little bit of
trees.
it, not bad though, but this is
She wasn't
cardstock.
wrong.
So
The old woman is going to
again,
where
it kind
Lady Fish
of
lived.
reacts differently,
That
but
first
you can see
terrifies
there is a
her.
line a little bit,
Then
but it's
intrigues her.
fine because it's a
She
glow
thought she
effect.
was
You
the
know what I
only one who
mean?
knew
It
about
kind of
But there's
like
nothing down in the woods except that.
works itself out.
Megan wonders what to do. Should she tell her parents? She never told them
You're
about Lady
welcome.
Fish. But besides, what will she get out of her mother except a muttered plea for quiet, leaking out from underneath the pile of pillows on the bed? And her daddy, he wouldn't say anything. Megan begins following the old woman's path down the hill. The soil grows very damp beyond the rocks at the bottom of the hill, and the trees ahead are very, very tall, unusually tall for this dry climate. A string of flat red rocks winds through the wet earth, and Megan has to hop from one to the other to get ahead. For just beyond the trees, the ground just gets wetter and wetter until it's almost like a marsh. Megan had never seen a marsh before she found this place. She knows the marsh is there simply because Lady Fish wished it to be. And she is fairly sure no one else has found it, for no one ever goes into the woods. But she isn't sure why no one does. If people like Lady Fish live in the woods, wouldn't everyone want to go there? But then she remembers one evening when Lady Fish, tall and shimmering and undulating, sang her a song about the other people in the woods, and how some slept and should not be woken, and some were quite upset to be there and should not be approached, and so on and so on. Really, from the way Lady Fish described it, she was the only nice one in the forest. And she was nice. On the days when her mama went down to the basement and came up cold and pale and stinking of cigarettes, Lady Fish was always there. She always had a few kind things to say. She was a wise, lovely person, Lady Fish. Once Megan asked her why her mama and daddy seemed so unhappy sometimes. It was a question she had asked a few people, like teachers and the parents of friends, but they always grew awkward and coughed and changed the subject. But Lady Fish didn't. She simply thought and said, in her own special way of speaking, because they are pretending to be something that they aren't. We all are, child. And that was the perfect thing to say. Megan misses her so much. How awful it was to come to her home and call her name before the opening in the earth, and not hear the sucking of mud, the bubbling of water, and Lady Fish's low purr as she rose up to visit. Megan called her name again and again, but she didn't come. It was then that Megan knew she was truly alone. She stops behind a tree. She can see the old woman standing in front of Lady Fish's house. The opening in the ground is long and wide, like Lady Fish herself, and it turns away to coil underneath the hill. But though it's wet and stinking, the old woman hikes up her skirts and carefully descends. Megan is shocked. She would never have dreamed of doing such a thing. Lady Fish's home was her own. It was not a place for visitors, not even Megan. She walks to the edge and looks down. How often she observed the curves and crenellations of the muddy earth conforming to meet Lady Fish's long, swirling shape. Then the old woman's face appears at the bottom of the tunnel. Her face and hands are filthy with mud. "Hello there," she says. Megan jumps. Then she draws back slowly. "Oh, don't be afraid, dear," says the old woman. She climbs out of the tunnel with remarkable agility. "I won't hurt you. I'm not here for you at all." Megan still keeps her distance. The old woman smiles and sits down on the ground. "I think you're here for the same reason I am," she says. Megan still doesn't trust her enough to answer. "By which I mean, we share a common acquaintance." The old woman nods at the tunnel. "Are you a friend of hers?" asks Megan. "Hers?" asks the old woman, as if a little surprised to hear the term. "Oh, well, I am actually, her sister, if you must know." "Her sister? No, you're not."
Is that Miss
"I
Benjamin?
most certainly am, dear. But you don't look anything alike." That doesn't mean we're not sisters. It's why I've come looking for her. She looks back at the tunnel, concerned. How long has she been gone? Why? Asks Megan. Because I'm worried about her. She pats the ground next to her. Come sit by me. There's nothing to be troubled about. Though initially reluctant, Megan does so. It's hard to mistrust a little old lady covered in mud. She was your friend, wasn't she? The old woman asks. Megan nods. Was it wrong? Was what wrong? That we were friends, says Megan. Why would you ask that? Because I do a lot of bad things, says Megan. It's why everyone left. Why Ladyfish left. Ladyfish? Who do you mean by... Ah, I see. The old lady considers it. You think she left because of you? Well, I very much doubt that. You do? Asks Megan hopefully. Yes, says the old woman. You don't seem to be a very bad girl to me, and I think she had other reasons for leaving. Are you going to try and bring her back? If she wishes to, I will try to make that happen. I hope you do, says Megan. I miss her. You were very close, I take it? Megan nods. When did she leave? After the funeral. Mr. Waringer's funeral? Asks the old woman. I don't know his name. I see, says the old woman. So it was very recent, then. Did she say anything to you before she left? Megan thinks as she stares down into the tunnel, and she remembers. It can be so hard sometimes to remember their conversations. It's like having spoken to someone in a dream. She said she was worried about me, she says. She said she never wanted anything to happen to me. Did she? Says the old woman. But I wasn't sure why I would be in trouble. I hadn't done anything then, and I'm not in trouble, am I? I have no reason to think so. The old woman goes silent, thinking. Then she looks around the edges of Ladyfish's house, examining the mud. What is it? Asks Megan. Nothing, but... Was anyone else here? Recently, I mean. Did anyone else come to see Ladyfish? Megan thinks. It seems like so long ago. But then she remembers one evening when she sneaked out of the house to see Ladyfish because she had heard shouting from down in the basement, and her mother kept going down and coming up and going down, and the smell of cigarettes was so strong, Megan just had to get out of the house. And she went straight to Ladyfish. But she saw someone was there. A man, says Megan. A man came to see her. And who was this man? I don't know. You don't? No. Well, what did he look like? Megan thinks hard. He was wearing a hat. A hat? A white hat. A white hat, says the old woman. No, that doesn't mean anything to me. But perhaps it is something. Did you hear what they were discussing? I could hear what he said, but I couldn't hear what Ladyfish was saying. You never can, unless she's talking to you. Really? She must be one of the very young ones, then. What did this man say? He said he needed help. Help in bringing someone back, I think. And Ladyfish needed to come with him. The old woman goes very still. She stares through the trees into the sunset, her face grave.
Thank you for the share, Kay.
I see, she says quietly. This is very good to know, then. Very, very good. She stands up. I must go now, dear. You have been very helpful. For that, I thank you. Will you find her? Asks Megan. I hope to. And she'll come back. I'm afraid I don't know, my dear, the old woman says. But you have to know, says Megan. How can you not know? The loneliness that descends on her is blank and crushing. She sits down on the marshy ground and begins to cry. The old woman, who previously seemed so grandmotherly, simply watches, her eyes small and inscrutable. It's then that Megan begins to feel, even through her sobs, that all of this person's actions and behaviors have been an affectation. like she was repeating lines from a memorized script that has worked well for her so far. And yet when confronted with something unwritten, like the sobbing of a small child, she has no idea what to do. She only stares, indifferent, unmoved. Understand, says the old woman, her voice wry and cold. Understand. 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 Understand that this is not a tragedy. This is not a thing to be mourned. You should be relieved. What happened here was no more than glimpsing something from the side of your eye. But you did not fully witness it. You did not fully see, comprehend, know. If you had, well, what you saw and what you spoke to and what you think you possessed was an illusion, a mistranslation, a deception. Perhaps she deceived you, or she deceived herself. I cannot say. But I will say that you are a very lucky girl, not because you met Lady Fish, but because you met her and still exist, in a fashion. I don't understand, says Megan, sobbing. No, says the old woman, and for that you should be very thankful. She turns and begins to walk farther into the forest. Where are you going? Asked Megan after her. To do the same thing many times over, I expect, says the old woman. To knock upon many doors and receive no answer. Do not follow me, girl. Where I go, you cannot come back from. And the old woman fades into the trees and is gone. Megan sits on the muddy ground, clutching her knees. Then, still sniffling, she stands up and walks to Lady Fish's home. She stares into it, trying to draw comfort from memories of her
Right.
past
Do not
meetings here.
follow me, girl.
None comes. She sits and slides down into the opening in the earth. The slick, dripping walls enclose her legs and shoulders. She keeps going down until she can no longer see open sky. And there she curls up into a ball and begins rocking back and forth, remembering better days when there was a voice in the darkness that told her everything was all right, and all the daily wounds life dealt her were far away, and nothing hurt. Chapter 33. Fucked. Fucked and more fucked, thinks Bolin. He cracks open another bottle of Pepto, the third tonight, and pounds it. Triple fucked, he thinks. Quintuple fucked. Octuple fucked. More, perhaps, but his math skills are lacking. Bolin sits on a column of boxes, in the exact pose of Rodin's Thinker, staring out at the large basement below the roadhouse. Every square foot is filled with large boxes, and inside each of these boxes are 4 shrink-wrapped sets of encyclopedias. To the average eye, these would appear unremarkable, but within the 4th set in each box, in a hollowed-out space starting at Uganda and ending in ultimatum, is somewhere around $70,000 worth of heroin. Where these encyclopedias go, Bolin isn't sure, but people pay a lot of money to make sure they get there. He's trying to do 3 things right now. The first is to calculate exactly how much money is currently in his warehouse. This involves maneuvering around some astronomical numbers, but he's pretty sure he has about $20 million worth of heroin here at this moment, $10 million worth of cocaine, and about $20,000 worth of encyclopedias, which no one gives a shit about, of course. The second thing he is trying to do is comprehend exactly where the encyclopedias and the heroin come from. The origin of the cocaine he knows, having arranged that deal himself with the funds generated from the heroin.
Right?
Heroin itself is a mystery. Before today, he always believed, or perhaps chose to believe, that the man in the Panama hat simply acted as a connection between Bolin and some foreign source. Yet after covertly sending out feelers into the networks of New Mexico, Bolin now knows that absolutely no heroin is being routed to the roadhouse, especially not in any encyclopedias. It is only coming from the roadhouse, which means that these shipments he has Zimmerman pick up from many hidden caches in Wink are coming from somewhere local, perhaps Wink itself. And that's odd, because last Bolin checked, there were no enormous poppy fields around Wink. The third thing Bolin is trying to do is keep himself from thinking about a nasty suspicion he has. that the heroin he is distributing across the Southwest, and also throughout Wink, serves a purpose beyond making a lot of fucking money. What that purpose would be escapes him. But though Boland doesn't remember a lot from his school days, one little factoid has come swimming up in his brain more and more. His history teacher once told him that Greek oracles had to ingest some very funny mushrooms to act as conduits for whichever god needed to speak. Boland doesn't believe in God or gods, but this bit of knowledge has somehow gotten stuck in his head. People might need a narcotic aid to navigate realms of the unknown. And to his regret, Boland knows there are a lot of unknown realms in Wink. Is it possible that the only reason he is making millions of dollars off of heroin is that the man in the Panama hat needs a select few citizens of Wink to be high? The idea is stupid, ridiculous, laughable. Why would he need them to be high? What purpose could that serve? Well, they would need to be, reasons Boland, if they had to go someplace the man in the Panama hat could not go himself and do something he couldn't do. But if he wants that, why not distribute the heroin himself? Well, thinks Boland, because he's being watched too. He needs someone outside, someone distant. Yet, even if all this is true, and every conclusion is one hell of a stretch, why provide a warehouse load of illicit drugs? Why not give Boland just enough to get the necessary people doped up? Why give Boland millions of dollars worth of product? That one is a tough nut to crack, but Boland thinks he knows. They don't understand how people work. Not really. They couldn't present just a tempting offer. They had to make it unbelievable, something he absolutely couldn't pass up. Subtleties of any kind are lost on them. And all of these mental arguments, which take several hours to sort out, lead to one question Boland is absolutely terrified of. If the people in Wink are able to make a fount of endless heroin out of nothing, what else can they do? There's a tapping at the door, and Boland jumps and
They're
nearly
just
topples off the boxes.
producing drugs out of thin air.
What? Dord is standing at the threshold. He is pale and twitching. One hand keeps tugging at his belt loops. Yeah? Boland asks. Got a call from Zimmerman, says Dord. He found Dee. Yeah? He was unconscious. Someone beat his face in. At the lab? Dord nods. Then he begins bobbing his head, as if he's forgotten the conversation entirely and is listening to a song.
Oh shoot, one of the people Mona beat up was this from this group.
Who the hell goes up to the lab except us? Asks Boland. Us, and he gestures toward nothing with a nod. The man in the Panama hat is such a presence in every conversation that he hardly needs to be acknowledged. Don't know, says Dord. Zimmerman says Dee's up, but he's not talking so good. Concussion, probably. Christ. Boland considers the conversation to be closed, but Dord keeps standing there. What? Asks Boland. One more thing, boss, says Dord. It's, talking. What? It's talking, typing. What is? The thing in your office, the light's on. What? You should have fucking said that first. Boland hops down off the column of boxes and sidles past Dord and makes his way upstairs. He unlocks and enters the soundproof passageway. The stock ticker has printed out a long line of tape. It's the same word over and over again, evidently repeated when Boland didn't answer. Meeting, 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 meeting. What's this? Says Boland. A meeting? A pause. Then, yes. A meeting between who? Another pause. Then the stock ticker types away. Between you and me. Boland pales. You want us to meet? Then, well, come right up, I guess. Not here, tonight, at Gulch, by Highway, Crossroads. He almost chokes. What? You want me to come to Wink? The machine is still. Boland imagines it to be a
Oh look, Brazil Chick has been in the fan club for 3 months.
Yes.
Whoop whoop.
Midnight. But I can't go there. The stock ticker is silent. It must not think that response to be worth an answer. Then, You will have to look down. Bolin stares at the tape. This has absolutely no meaning to him.
Hello.
I don't understand, he says. It barrels on without him. You know where to take the next totem. Yes, says Bolin. They're already on it. There might be a bit of a delay. My boy got his face caved in just today, but they'll be at the canyon soon. The machine pauses for a long, long time. Longer than the machine has ever paused before. Bolin almost wonders if they've gotten pissed at him and given up. But then it types, I may not be there. What?
Cinnamon.
At the
Hey.
Bolin realizes this is wrong. Wait, you mean at the meeting? Then where will you be? Another extremely long pause. The machine types, dead. Bolin is utterly flabbergasted to read such a response. What the
How
fuck?
are you, Cinna
Are you
Snacks?
He types, am about to attempt something drastic. Wait, like more than what we've already done? It responds, yes. Well, then don't fucking do it. The machine types, if I am not there tonight, you will still be met.
Oh, that's good.
By
I miss
who?
you.
Asks
I'm
Bolin.
doing good.
The ticker is silent.
We're just catching up
By
on
who?
our
He asks
Audible
again.
for the week.
What's going on? What are you about to do? But no matter how long he waits, he receives no answer. Chapter 34.
Thank you for the moo-moos
Evening
and
is
the
falling by
go
the time Mona
pops.
returns to Wink. She feels as if she is seeing it for the first time. She
Yeah.
looks at the quaint adobe homes and the little cottages with sky blue siding.
I'll work
Mona's
on
men
that,
at the
Kay.
drugstore and the children are playing tag at the Greenbelt. The street lamps are pristine, the grass moist, the trees thick and tall. A place of quiet days and quieter evenings. And yet, a man stands on the
Hello.
sidewalk perfectly still, with his hands at his sides.
How are
He wears a
ya?
charmingly cheap suit that is a few sizes too large for him. He stares at the sky with his head cocked, as if he is listening to something only he can hear. And when she passes him in the huge truck, he looks at her and smiles wistfully. She keeps watching him in the rearview mirror. He returns to staring at the powder blue sky.
Aren't they? It's a
wide
jellyfish
smile on his face.
rave.
Is he one of them? Are any of the people she sees? A young woman stands in a gravel alley between two homes. A frail thing with skinny wrists. She holds an empty tin can in her hands, and she turns it over again and again, feeling its metal sides. And as she does, she twirls about in a slow shuffle, as if dancing with it. What does she feel when she touches this mundane little
Right?
trinket? Mona wonders. What do they see when they look at the world? An old man stands in the window
This is
of a
my
hardware store,
squishy.
staring out with eyes rimmed blue-black. His hands are spattered with what looks like ink, maybe black paint. He holds a bowl and a fork, and he dips the fork down into the bowl and brings up a steaming pile of mashed potatoes. He opens his mouth
I want some
hugely,
mashed
far wider
potatoes.
than he should, and paints his tongue with the forkful, unblinking, not swallowing. As his hands rise, the blank ink runs down his forearms in rivulets to stain his shirt sleeves. He's one. There is no doubt. How many are there? They seem to be everywhere when you look. Stragglers occupying drab little between places in the town, ditches and empty parking lots, and alleys behind shops. The interstitial parts of the city no one ever thinks about. These places, perhaps, are where these dazed wanderers go to collect their thoughts, to be themselves. To be themselves, thinks Mona, whatever they are, behind their eyes. And when they're done, will
Why
they
is it
return
always
home,
something with the
cheery smiles on their
eyes?
faces, ready to put food on the table, to cut the grass or play a game of cards or share a pipe, to gossip and scratch off yet another day in their peaceful small-town lives? Is that it? What do they do? What do such people do? Why are they here? She circles the block twice, easing through the alleys, counting all the cars
I think
and
too, I
memorizing the
want to do
license
like
plate.
these
She sees no one watching. No shift of a curtain or movement in any of the cars, and she certainly sees no one tailing her.
Like
Road
long
traffic here is so
stringy
sparse, it'd be almost impossible to stay hidden.
as well.
When she's as satisfied as she can get, she parks down the street from Mrs. Benjamin's house and watches it. Once she had lunch there only a few days ago, yet now she wonders what lives in that house, or pretends to live there, and what it does when no one's watching. She takes out the Glock and wipes sweat from her brow. She doesn't want to do this, yet she must know. She gets out of the truck and walks to the front door, barely bothering to hide the gun in her hand. She goes to the window and peers in. The house is dark, but she's not sure that means anything. She goes to the door and is not surprised to find it's unlocked. After all, why would such a thing ever need to lock the doors?
I just wanted to go ahead and do that now so I don't
The dark
forget
color
later.
of the floor and walls makes the house even darker. It's still every inch an old woman's house, stuffed with ticking clocks and piles of mail and forgettable trinkets. She hears nothing.
Yes, she
Things that she's
just
not at home.
beat somebody up
Mona
too.
stalks through the house,
You missed
guns
that.
drawn, eyes hunting for any
That's
movement.
okay.
She turns left.
You
and
know it's
follows
quiet
a short
on
hallway to the bedroom.
book night
And
around
there
here.
she sees him. He's lying on the bed with his fingers
But I
threaded
do
together
enjoy
on his
it.
chest, peaceful as the dead. Yet she can see he's not dead, not quite. His chest rises.
I probably
and
won't
falls
finish this
slowly.
tonight. I'll get on tomorrow and we'll
He
finish
looks
it.
the same.
Isn't
like your
it?
average old
I
man,
love
perhaps a little
it.
caustic. Someone who spent too much of his life indoors. She sits down in the overstuffed chair beside Parson.
Girl, ain't
He
it?
looks into his face and wonders what's behind it. It is not, she thinks, an eccentric old man who spends
Yes.
his brain
And
in
so long story short, I think that we found out that the lab that is now ran out, like it's abandoned or whatever, that has been abandoned for a long time. They were playing with like time, okay? And this lens that like lets you like play with time, I guess. And they were thinking that they were like accidentally making holes in the time of things and that things can travel through it. And I think they let these beings in through the hole in time, and that is what caused that big old lightning storm. I don't know for sure. They hadn't said that, but this is what we're concluding, okay? They had this whole like recordings tapes where they were kind of, it was like they were going through like this court system of apparently they did something that was bad, or the girl went missing. Mona's mom ran off and went missing, and like it's just like a whole thing. So that's where we're at right now.
years running a motel. Any more than
And we
the owner
find
of
out
this
that
house is
when Mona was at the lab listening to these tapes and like going through the records, and then this guy snuck up on her and she like beat him up. And come to find out it was really this gang, this heroin gang, who is working for some machine. And I guess they're keeping some of the people high on the heroin so that they can use them for these things. I don't know. It's very weird. We're figuring it all out.
a doddering old bureaucrat. She raises the gun a little, but doesn't point it at him. The clocks seem to tick louder and louder. She wonders what it would be like to break their ponderous ticking and spill his skull across these yellowed sheets. Would it be such a bad thing? Would it be wrong? Would it even do
Y'all, one of the
anything?
chapters was an hour and 30 minutes.
There's
The
a
first
voice from
chapter
the door.
tonight. It was wild.
No, it would do nothing. Mona very nearly pulls the trigger.
I'm
She looks up and
actually
sees Mrs.
tired
Benjamin
now.
standing at the door. And though she watches
I think I'm going to stop here, guys. I'm so sorry. I'll get on tomorrow and we'll finish this page. But I at least got like, at least you see all the colors and you kind of see the vision that we're going for. So thank y'all for hanging out with me tonight. I know, the book isn't for everybody, but I'm glad we have our little bitty book club here. And let me see how much longer we have left in the book. We only have 9 hours left in the book, guys. So just a few more weeks. All right, Kay. I hope y'all have a great night. See y'all this weekend. And yeah. I'm so tired. Yes, only 9 hours, because guess what? This book has 70 something chapters. The whole book was like 20 something hours long, girl. Okay? So we are like halfway through finally. Goodness gracious. Yes, it's a long book. I think we're going to do the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes next, which will be fun because it's coming to Netflix. So that's cool. You can listen to it if you haven't seen it yet. All right. Love y'all. Peace out. Look at that. Cinnamon has had 500 comments. She's been here for 100 days and she has watched for 500 minutes. Wow. A stalker right there. Just kidding. Y'all make good choices and have a great night. Love y'all. Bye.